Titans NFL Draft Station. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. Trending now at 104.5 The Zone.
It is 10 a.m. Good morning. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee has added a transfer and former Michigan quarterback Joe Milton, a former four-star from Orlando. Milton threw for over 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in 6 games for the Wolverines last season. College baseball, Vandy took the series at Tennessee over the weekend, 2-1. The Vols evened things up Saturday with an 8-4 win, helped by an Evan Russell grand slam in the bottom of the 8th. Vandy pulled away in the rubber match with a 10-4 win on Sunday. Nashville Soccer Club came back down 2-0 for a 2-2 draw in the season opener against FC Cincinnati in Nissan Stadium Saturday. Randall Leal's long-range goal in the 64th tied it up. Nashville will travel to Montreal next on Saturday. Preds dropped 2 at Carolina over the weekend, including a 3-1 loss Saturday. They currently sit in a playoff spot, 4th place in the Central, 2 points ahead of the Blackhawks, who they will play tonight in Bridgestone at 7 p.m. Nashville is 5-0 against Chicago this season. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Rising to the top with A to Z sports quicker than any Titans reporter in town. He's impressed us enough to give him his own show. It's Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone.
You ready, Mace?
Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Yeah.
It is that time. Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Monday here on 104.5 The Zone. We appreciate you guys spending your time with us from 10 to 1. Lucas is here, I am here, and we are rocking on this Mock Draft Monday. We got a lot of stuff to get to over the course of this show. A lot of draft talk. We are in the waning moments. The countdown has begun. Less than 10 days away from the NFL draft? So we're going to have a bunch of draft conversation. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, the man responsible for the beast, the biggest, baddest draft evaluation handbook that there is. Dane is going to join us, and we're going to get into the draft conversation at great length over the course of this morning. We'll talk some Vols, some Vandy baseball. Tony Vitello. Not Vitello, Lucas. Vitello. We'll argue about that over the course of this morning, I'm sure. The head coach of the Volunteers baseball squad going to join us coming up next. We'll get into that. A really fun series over the weekend. Didn't end the way that the Vols wanted it to, but definitely some things to be learned from how they performed against, the top 2 teams in the country. Vanderbilt coming in at number 2, and obviously Tennessee number 5. Before the weekend, we'll see where they land after the series and when the rankings are redone. We have some very, very, very special birthday shout-outs to send over the course of today. We will do that at some point. But in the meantime, we start in the obvious place. Lucas sounds terrible. Your voice sounds so bad.
Is that bad?
It's so bad. Like, so bad. It sounds like somebody took a cheese grater to your vocal cords. I don't know what you did this week. I do know a little bit about what you did this weekend because I was with you for a part of it, but I need to know what the hell happened to your voice that you sound this bad on a Monday after having a full day to recover yesterday. By the way, if you want to jump in on the conversation, 615-737-1045 is the number, 615-737-1045. We're live streaming on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV. If you want to interact with the show, I've got all of your comments, literally all of your comments from across the 4 platforms in front of me, so we will read them and interact with you guys over the course of this morning. What's wrong with your voice? What happened to you?
Well, it was starting to go late last week. Like, I did a couple games outside in the cold, windy weather, and I could feel the dryness and the scratchiness. It was not ideal. I didn't help myself over the weekend. Obviously, we went to the soccer game. Things that we did after the soccer game. Had a whole day of recovery yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't enough. Hopefully, back on track tomorrow.
Things that we did after the soccer game, very generic by you. Nothing incriminating in there. Yeah, so Lucas and I went to the soccer game. Lucas and I went to the Nashville SC game. It was my first Nashville SC game, and I had a fantastic time. The thing outside of the soccer itself being entertaining, like the folks at Nissan Stadium did a really, really good job making me want to come back. Now, here's what I'll say, because it's been a long time since I've been to a sporting event. as just a fan, like just nothing work related. Sounds games, I don't necessarily count them because I would pay $9 to go to a Sounds game and not even look at the field. Like you walk right past the playing field out to the bandbox and you start drinking. That's what you do at a Sounds game. At least that's what most people do at a Sounds game. So I don't necessarily count those as sporting events that I've attended as a fan. Whereas Nashville SC versus FC Cincinnati, like I was locked in on the soccer. The shot disparity alone. Nashville, I mean, they had a slow start. They got off to a slow start, picked it up in a major way, 32-7 shot disparity between Nashville SC and FC Cincinnati. That Cincinnati goaltender was all over the place. He shouldn't pay for another meal for the rest of the season the way they were making that man work because Nashville was in there in Cincinnati's end the entire time just burying them. But more than anything, you know, because we're not gonna do a bunch of what Lucas would like to do, and Lucas will in fact be doing hardcore soccer analysis when
Tomorrow night, Nashville Soccer Show, 9 p.m. Will Bowling, Davey Shepard, and myself.
Okay, so check that out. So Lucas will do the heavy lifting of the in-depth soccer analysis with Will Bowling and Davey Shepard then. But for me, like my biggest takeaway was they made me want to go back. Like that's the biggest thing when you talk about any of these new teams that are in town now or potentially MLB could come to town, even though it seems like at this point they're largely spinning their wheels, no actual traction on the MLB to Nashville stuff. Soccer is here. And like my biggest question with the soccer team was, okay, how do you get the casual sporting fan? Well, you get the casual sporting fan by making the experience and the product, like the product has to be good. And obviously this is a playoff team that you saw a season ago, their first MLS season. But yesterday, I was thinking, okay, they have to score like consistently to keep me engaged. I'm not a hardcore soccer fan. I'm really not much of it's no slight against the sport. It's just not something that I generally pay attention to. MLS, EPL, whatever. But the product on the field was such that I had to keep my eyes on the pitch the entire game. And that I felt, given my experience in Nissan Stadium and how long it's been since I've been at a sporting event as an actual fan, like they really made me want to go back. They got me.
Well, put it this way. We talked about the somewhat unfair narrative of Nashville being a defensive team and a low block that just absorbs pressure.
Didn't see
if
that.
I told you that was the case before the game Saturday, and then what you saw on the field Saturday, two very different things.
Oh, yeah. Well, what you did was you did it right for my expectations, because I heard you talking about you got Will Bowling's tickets to go to the soccer game, and I was sitting at dinner on Friday night with my girlfriend, and I said, hey, you guys want to go, you get a couple friends, we'll go to the soccer game or something like that. I've never been. Why not? The tickets, totally reasonable to sit in the lower bowl. Very, very reasonable. And on top of that, like, I'm one of these people who would advocate for social distancing in sports long after COVID is over because it made it so much easier to get in and out of the stadium. You don't have to mess with people around you. It's not like there was an environment. There was a clear environment. And the thing that they do with the guitar riff before every game, I did not know that was a thing before each and every game.
Yeah, right up to kickoff. Last year they had to do it where they played it on the telecast. The guitarist would record it from home, but it was so good to have it live and in person again.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like they made it a good enough environment, and also I was not surrounded by people in a way that made me uncomfortable. Not just because of COVID or anything like that, but it was nice to be able to be comfortable in the stadium. Also, the weather was great. Like, it all lined up perfectly. And so I had a lot of fun at Nissan Stadium for my first Nashville SC game. What was also a lot of fun over the weekend, and we're going to spend a lot of time on the NFL draft this week, obviously. We're going to get into the draft conversation at length. But I had a lot of fun watching this Vandy Vols baseball series over the course of this weekend. Friday and Sunday, Vandy got the win. Saturday, the Vols took advantage of the rare hole in Vandy's game. Jack Leiter's one of the best pitchers in college baseball in the country, without question. And he didn't have his best stuff consistently. Now, you saw Evan Russell take advantage with a 3-run homer. Evan Russell obviously leading the team in home runs at this point. He got another one after the game was well in hand for Vanderbilt on Sunday, to make it 10-4. But that series, one elite uniform matchup, without question. College baseball uniforms, spectacular between Vandy and the Vols. And I knew on Saturday when John Fulkerson threw out the pitch, the first pitch, I thought there was no way that that the Vols were going to lose. But that was a very, very competitive series, or a more competitive series, I think, than people are accustomed to, given how dominant Vandy has been. And we'll get into what Tim Corbin said about COVID and everybody making such a stupid deal out of that. I'm going to yell at a bunch of people coming up about that here in a second. Terry Randolph chimes in on Facebook Live. If you would like to chime in on Facebook Live, Terry Randolph says, Buck is butt ugly. Damn. Yes, good morning to you, Terry. Happy Monday.
How you want to start your week?
Oh, yes. You love to see it. 615-737-1045. So we're going to talk about the Vandy and Vols series over the weekend, but that's that day that we had Saturday, because Saturday Lucas and I we met up for Lucas met up with a group of my friends, and you brought your roommate Blue, whose name is actually Blue. It's not a nickname. That still catches me off guard. That Blue is his God-given name.
Catches everybody off guard.
It should.
You should hear him like putting in orders when they ask for a name. Blue like the color every time.
Yeah. Oh, Bucket is asking for a Super League. Can we get Lucas's take on the Super League while we're here? Yeah, no, save it for the soccer show. Bucket, I'm sorry. I can't do that this morning. I would be completely lost. Lucas has his own soccer show for that. Can you fire off something in 30 seconds? Can you give people a take on the Super League?
It's something that could potentially bury European soccer and world soccer as we know it. I'll just put it that way. We'll save it for the soccer show. Podcast coming out with Speedway Soccer. There's a lot more that needs to be said about this.
Okay, so there you go, Bucket. Your Super League update. The Panzika Preds update. Oh, tough times for the Preds. Not vibing right now. 615-737-1045. But I had so much fun. It's been so long since I've just been able to have a weekend as like a sports fan. This was the first weekend in a long, long time that I got to take advantage of. We went out day drinking on Saturday. We went to a bar before the soccer game. We watched Tennessee and Vandy baseball on the TV at the bar, and then we went to the soccer game. Now, Lucas went out after the soccer game. There's zero chance in hell that I was going to make it out after that. But I had so much fun just being a sports fan for the first time in a long time this weekend. It really, very refreshing. Very nice to have. But what is also refreshing is how good the Vols are, or how competitive the Vols are under Tony Vitello when it comes to baseball. To have an actual winner on campus, to have the environment at Lindsey Nelson Stadium on Saturday, all 3 days, spectacular.
Yeah, we're talking about mullet luges.
Ugh. That just what a terrible word. You know how to describe for people who have not seen the video, you have seen the catfish luge, where Taylor Lewan and the Titans offensive line, when they would go to the Preds games during the playoffs, would chug beer using a catfish as a beer luge. So somebody decided that it would be a good idea at Lindsey Nelson, a Vols fan, in the student section, to chug beer that was running through another student's mullet in sort of a mullet waterfall situation. And it's as disgusting a thing as I've ever seen in my life. It also let me know that college sports is back, baby. Back and better than ever.
Yeah, if you told me 5 years ago they'd be doing mullet luges in Lindsey Nelson, I'd be like, for why? What?
I saw somebody tweet out, I think it was Braden Gall, tweet out, mullet luges or butt chug. Put it on the poll, Lucas. This is your university. This is who is out here making you proud. Yesterday was not a nationally televised broadcast. I had to go to like SEC, ESPN, whatever the hell plus to go find this game. But
yeah, that was ridiculous.
That made me very upset. I just wanted to turn on the TV. Like, I understand that we live in a digital streaming world. Anyway, I'm going to have many things to complain about. We'll get to it when I get to the notebook. But in the meantime, we're going to talk to Vols baseball head coach Tony Vitello. He is coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Jason Martin and Ramon Foster serving up crow in the AM.
So, Mike, you're going to have to eat your words when Vinny is here, is all I'm saying.
That's fine. I'm giving you props. I'm not going to have to eat my words.
Jay, Mart, and Ramon. Tomorrow morning from 6 to 10.
104.5 The Zone.
The headlines have hit the news, claiming shortages of vehicles in Middle Tennessee, not at Music City Autoplex. Their exceptional wholesale buying ability has allowed them to increase inventory to meet your needs like no other dealership. More late model, low mileage choices, more financing options, more SUVs, more trucks, more sedans. So visit Music City Autoplex today and find more of what you want in a vehicle purchase experience. See why Music City Autoplex is growing and why they're the uncommon dealership. Located at 2430 Gallatin Pike or online at musiccityAutoplex.com.
Brentwood Jewelry has been a locally owned family business since 1967. This family business is the place you can trust with your family heirlooms, engagement rings, luxury watches, and custom pieces. With Salem and son Brandon in the store daily to help you find that perfect gift and offering quality products with top-notch customer service. So choose Brentwood Jewelry for all of your celebrations, engagements, graduations, and anniversaries. Brentwood Jewelry, located in the heart of Brentwood on Church Street, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for more than 50 years. Visit BrentwoodJewelry.com.
Hey, it's Mickey Ryan. I give All American Pest Control 5 stars. Every team member that's ever come to my house from those guys is well-trained and professional and friendly and really helpful. They show up on time. They provide thorough treatment. And I love that if pesky critters show up in between services, all I have to do is call. All American will come back in between visits for no additional charge. I get quarterly pest control, mosquito treatments, and termite protection. It's all a great value. So go to yuckbugs.com today. Tell them Mickey sent you.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Genesis Diamond's first spring sale in 2 years is here this weekend, and they're holding nothing back. Save up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, all on sale. Last year's spring extravaganza was canceled, so they're doubling up this year with bigger discounts and expanded selection. Aggressive financing. Designers are here with their entire collections all on sale. Even certified diamond engagement rings are on sale, so don't miss this. Genesis store-wide spring extravaganza, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special financing. This event was canceled last year, so we're making it bigger than ever this year. With twice the selection and double the savings. Get sale prices on all new designer jewelry and GIA certified diamonds. This Friday through Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamond. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit.
Masvidal and Usman put on a show the last time they stepped into the octagon. And the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is putting you in the center of this weekend's title fight. Pick either main event fighter to win this weekend's UFC 261 title fight, and DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 26-1 odds. Just bet $5 on either fighter to win. If they walk out with the belt, you will cash $130. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WGFX when you sign up to turn $5 into $130 if the title contender of your choice wins. That's code WGFX for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for detail. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I knew it, but I thought it was elves.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember me?
Sure I do. You called last year because you thought our truck team members wear caps to hide their elf ears.
But you don't use elves. You use fairies.
What makes you say that?
I met Charlotte. What a delight.
You met Charlotte?
First I pointed, then the junk disappeared. But the sparkle sound came a little bit late. So I said, you should probably make that sparkle sound a little bit quicker.
And then what happened?
And then Charlotte materialized out of thin air and said,
never hesitate to trade your cow for a handful of magic beans.
How did you know that?
When you give a fairy advice, they have to give you advice in return.
I love 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
When you want junk to disappear,
all you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit us at 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Identity thieves love tax forms with personal info needed to steal your identity. That's why LifeLock helps protect, monitor, and restore your identity. No one can monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com. Promo code RISK.
Lot going on this Monday. Big weekend in local sports. Big series for the Vols and Vandy in baseball over the weekend. Now, it did not go the way that the Vols wanted it to go ultimately, but it was a very, very fun series to watch. Very, very competitive. And now we have Vols baseball coach Tony Vitello joining us on the show. Tony, good morning. We appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah, morning to you. My pleasure.
So my producer, Lucas, is Italian, and we've been arguing back and forth about the pronunciation of your last name. The television broadcast says Vitello. The pronunciation guide on the Vols baseball website says Vitello. The Knoxville media, Tony, calls you Vitello. Lucas insists that it's Vitello. Can you settle this once and for all for us so I can yell at him?
Vitello, so yell away.
Thank you. It's a fine, Lucas. You have to pay a fine now.
That's fair. It's fair.
That's get out of here. $1 in the fine bucket for your for the way that you argue with me about this man's name. Tony Vitello here, with us on the
when some people move from the old country or their own country, wherever it is, sometimes there's some Americanization that goes on of the name. So who knows? I'll take Coach V from our guys as long as they're winning games the way they have.
No question. You guys are off to a really, really good start this season, 10-5 halfway through SEC play. Of course, not going the way that you wanted to yesterday, but still a very, very fun season or a fun series to watch. I watched your post-game Zoom yesterday, Coach, talking about all the run-up to this series, all the excitement, all of the hype around it, and how your guys kind of manage that, because I know that's something that you want to try and keep. You want to keep your focus on the game, obviously, but that's good experience for your players to have to deal with those kind of expectations and still be able to come out and perform as well as they did. How did you think that the guys lived up to that expectation and kind of managed themselves and their emotions throughout the course of it?
I think they did well overall. I think they passed the test, if that's what you want to call it. It's really hard for me. We don't really try and strangle the life out of our players or micromanage too much. So, what went on leading up to game one is tough for me to tell, but I am a big believer you can kind of gauge or get their temperature during pregame or the things leading up to the game. And the guys were relaxed. They were obviously excited, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary the way they were acting. And then we ran into a buzzsaw with Rocker. I mean, timing is a huge thing in our league with 30 games, and I may sound like a poor loser, but I think we caught a bad break with him losing that game to Georgia and probably having his worst outing he'll have of the year against Georgia. And he came out with his hair on fire on Friday, and we just couldn't put anything together, even though we did find the barrel a few times against him and their relievers. And then Saturday was electric. But I will say, to conclude my answer, I think Saturday took a lot out of our guys, and it's a valuable lesson to be learned that, you celebrate or you get caught up too much in that type of stuff. It can have a hangover effect. And on Sunday, I don't know that we quite had the same snap to us, but at the same time, Vanderbilt did, and they did a great job at the plate in particular on Sunday.
Without question, both two very fun teams to be able to watch over the course of the season. The environment that you guys had at Lindsey Nelson was spectacular. It's the first time, Coach, that I felt watching a sporting event that it felt like a real student section. Now, obviously, there's guys out there chugging beer through one another's mullets. I don't know how you feel about that. That doesn't seem necessarily like it would be according to the protocol. Looked like a good time as long as you're okay with a few strands of hair in your beer. But just the excitement around your program right now has got to be refreshing. One, and obviously you guys have been building up to this success that you're having over the course of this season, but just how supportive has the Knoxville community been of Vols baseball? Because Lucas has been my producer has been a fan of all things Vols for a long time, and I know he feels some type of way about the way that you guys, have found yourself close to the top here at this point.
Yeah, well, in stages, it's gone as welcoming. Everyone was it just stuck out. It was different. And I've worked in the South, but I mean, the people here were incredibly welcoming to me and everybody on our staff and just in general. And then it turned into support. What can we do and things like that. But this year has taken on a whole new entity, and it's almost like it's now gasoline that's fueling the vehicle for us. And then I think our guys are giving back with the fact they play with a little bit of energy. And quite frankly, we've had a couple injuries, and I don't think our roster is quite as weighted in talent as Florida or Vanderbilt. But there's a little extra grit there. So I think the two are kind of feeding off each other, the fans and the players. But overall, big picture for any sport on this campus, they're there. So, I mean, not George Strait, who I love, but Garth Brooks, that guy's had enormous crowds everywhere. His biggest crowd he's ever played in front of in his entire life was on this campus. Right. So if you do things in a way that Tennessee people will appreciate it, I don't know that there's another state where they'll come out in as big a numbers and as crazy a fashion. I mean, chugging the beer through a mullet's a whole nother level, but overall, they'll come out like maniacs if you do it right. I mean, Pat Summitt knows that, Rick Barnes knows it, Coach Fulmer knows it, and I hope that our kids get to experience it for quite a while.
Yeah, they seem to. Your team seems to really be feeding off the environment, and obviously they're enjoying the success that you guys have been able to have over the course of the season, and hope to continue to have. It's a team game, obviously, and I'm a Titans reporter by trade, so I know better than to ask Mike Vrabel about individual players and the success that they're having at any given point. But I can't help but come back, Tony, to what Evan Russell is doing for you guys right now. A solo home run yesterday to try and get you guys back in it. Obviously, the game at that point felt kind of out of hand, but the 3-run homer on Saturday just lit the place up, leading so far this season, your team with 10 home runs. What can you say about the kind of juice that Evan Russell is bringing for you guys on a day-by-day basis?
Yeah, well, first of all, Coach Vrabel's got a son that's pretty dang good at baseball as well, and he plays the game hard, and that's the way we want our guys to play it, and that's what Evan Russell does. He gets teased by our volunteer coach as being Rudy, a kid that was just dying to be a Vol and then got his chance. Right. Now, he's more skilled than the movie character that, went to Notre Dame, but that's kind of the guy he is. I mean, he plays, even in practice, like every play is going to get us to Omaha, and he bleeds orange like no other. So I think when it's a moment where, there's a lot of emotion in the stadium and our pride is at stake and we're trying to make a significant amount of progress in our program, there's no better representative to have in the box. And, he's put a lot of icing on the cake. I don't even know if that's appropriate to say. It's grander than that. But what he's been able to do is incredible. But he's got that capability. Strong kid. He's turned himself into, a maniac in the weight room, and it's paid off for him on the field. So just really awesome to see a kid that loves this place so much do so much for it.
Vols baseball coach Tony Vitello here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
Coach, going back to that performance on Saturday, right? 3 for 3, obviously the 3 homers, 6 RBIs, and the grand slam that ended up winning it for you. When you look back at your coaching career, how does that individual performance at the plate stack up against anything else that you've seen as a coach? Just taking into consideration the performance, the environment, the matchup, just the overall situation.
That is number one by far, and I've coached guys that have done some pretty special things. Aaron Sinney, a kid from Minnesota, goes to the Metrodome and has 8 RBIs in a game, but that was a regular season game with nobody in the stadium. The fact that he's done it twice. I mean, the guy needs to play for the Preds. He's got 2 hat tricks. He did it against LSU, who's started a first-rounder against us in that game as well. So when you talk about the level of competition, the environment, the magnitude of the game, it's a better performance than I've ever seen anyone have at the plate, or really just in a game in general. And good fortune of being around guys like Max Scherzer and things like that. He's so dang competitive. I hope he doesn't hear me say this, but I think it's the best performance I've been a part of when I'm in a dugout.
Coach, you guys halfway through SEC play at this point, an important game coming up against Tennessee Tech tomorrow night at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. How do you kind of continue to manage your team's expectations throughout the course of this as you look to further your success and find yourself in the College World Series?
Right. Well, a big part of it is that we haven't done some of the things that these other programs have. Now, there's no reason to bow down to them, and I think the teams we've played so far, like we were fortunate enough to beat Florida, they've got a recent national championship, which we do not. That's something we aspire to be, or something that we aspire to have is, Florida every year has talked about potentially going to Omaha. So we're not necessarily there yet. So putting that into perspective, I think helps keep your head down and get after it, in your preparation and keep perspective before and after games. But the other thing is the calendar. It was a huge series, and for our guys to experience that hype and go through all that came with it will benefit us in the long run if we allow it to. And it'll benefit us in May or June, not in April. And I'd much rather be Vanderbilt and be on the winning side of that series. But, again, it is only April, and we want to play our best ball in May and have that bleed into June.
Raymond Pfister, one of our Twitch commenters, Coach, has written in, been hearing for a lot of years that UT baseball was on its way back. Thank you, Coach. We've seen it coming for real since you've been here.
Well, thank you, because I've said it before, and I don't ever want to sound corny or like a salesman because it's honestly not in my blood, but when we got the job, we knew some good things could be done here, again, because of the fan base and things, but it was going to take a lot of work, and there's no way you can do it alone. Like, even our coaching staff, too much yelling this weekend, even just our coaching staff or in recruiting, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take people in the community, the administration, facilities, fans, you good folks, including us on the show today. So there is an army that's willing to get us to where we got to go. We just need to keep putting in the work.
Coach, interesting your comments after the series on Sunday where you said you felt it was a very valuable weekend for your program. How did Tennessee baseball get better after the series lost to Vanderbilt?
Well, we will no longer play a game this year where we're facing someone's stuff that's better than those first two guys we faced.
Right.
And, again, it's the competition, so you hate to admit it. But our hitters should take confidence that they're as prepared as anybody. Because, again, if it isn't May, to me, it's preparation. And if you don't win enough games, May's not going to mean anything. But we've got high standards around here, and it'll help prepare us. The other thing is, it's no longer a vision that we tried to sell to Jake Rucker, who's from, JP over there in Nashville. We tried to sell him the vision that fans are going to come back and we're going to build onto this stadium and things like that. He's now seen it and experienced it and knows what it can be like. And he will also, along with our other players, know how to manage that because it's very emotional. And if you burn too many calories in the wrong areas over the course of a weekend, let's go ahead and say over the course of a regional, you may not have anything left in the tank in Game 5 or Game 6 of a regional. So I could go on and on of some things I listed in our group meet last night, but there were some things that occurred. And really it's just one more thing that's another first or the first time in a long time, things in those type of categories for our kids. And the more of those they can put in their back pocket, then the better the Rolodex they're going to have to tackle situations in the future.
He is Coach Tony Vitello of the Tennessee Vols, kind enough to give us some of his time this morning on 104.5 The Zone. They play again at Lindsey Nelson Stadium against Tennessee Tech tomorrow night at 6:30 local time. Coach, we really appreciate you taking some time, and congratulations on all the success, continued success throughout the course of the season.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate support wherever it is in the state. And, if there's ever anything we can do for you, let us know.
We appreciate that. Careful, we'll take advantage. Tony Vitello here with us.
All right, we'll see you.
Take care, Coach, on 104.5 The Zone. You got a lot to be excited about, Lucas. He's got the thing going in the right direction. And I understand. Listen, we probably get some – I've seen some criticism so far in my mentions at least or across the comments on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV where you guys have been weighing in. Why are we not talking about Vandy baseball, who was victorious after this series against Tennessee? And I do want to make sure, and we'll spend some time on what's happening to Tim Corbin because I think it's completely unfair, and it makes me very, very upset when we get to the notebook coming up next. But Vandy is so consistently good that I look at Vandy the same way that I do Alabama in baseball. Anyway, gotta make that qualifier clear. In baseball, Vandy is so monotonously good that it's less of a story, if that makes any sense. Now, obviously, they have some of the best talent in the country. They're one of the best teams on a year-in, year-out basis, and you want to give them credit for that sustained success, without question. But for the I don't want to say for the bigger number of the audience, rather, most of you are Vols fans primarily, and you have been so thirsty for a winner on campus. You finally have one. So even though, I'll be honest with you, okay? I was rooting for them to win yesterday so that Coach could come on after a win and talk about it, but I thought he was very, very good to come on anyway and spend some time with us. But to be able to have a winner on campus, a legitimately dominant team on the University of Tennessee's campus, I think means something to the larger audience listening here, even if it's in Nashville, even if it is on Vandy's home turf. And again, that is not to take anything away from Vanderbilt, because they absolutely smoked Tennessee in the 2 games that they won.
But they were a well-oiled machine on Sunday. They were at the plate.
They were beautiful, beautiful to watch.
To me, it's like if Tennessee football in year 2 under Josh Heupel went down to the wire at Alabama and lost in overtime. The story the next day would not be Alabama beats Tennessee for the millionth time in a row. It would be Tennessee hangs with Alabama in year 2 of the Josh Heupel era. And I do want to get to Tim Corbin this season. Vanderbilt's going to be a College World Series contender. We probably will talk to him on this show.
Well, you have direct control over whether we talk to Tim Corbin.
Exactly.
You're going to do that? Or are you just going to say we probably will?
No, we do need Tim Corbin on this show, because I expect Vanderbilt to contend for a national championship this season. Everybody does.
100%. So we will give credit where credit is due. But I did want to spend some time on what the Vols are doing right now, because it has people like Lucas excited. It has people like Lucas's roommate Blue excited. Blue, who looks very much like he belongs on the mound, by the way, for the Tennessee Volunteers. That hair is unbelievable.
They do have an eccentric collection of hairstyles and hairdos.
All right, so I'm gonna show my ignorance a little bit. What's the name of the pitcher with the handlebar mustache for Tennessee? This man it's immaculate. He looks like a 1915 baseball player. I can't think of the dude's name, but he was out there on the mound, and it made me want to care about Vols baseball more, just because this man was out there with some flow and a handlebar mustache. Anyway, that will conclude our college baseball conversation, because it is, of course, the ramp up for the NFL draft. The NFL draft overcomes everything, and so that is what we will spend the bulk of our time on coming up next. Actually, we'll do the notebook next, but then we'll spend some time on the NFL draft. Lucas and I have done mock drafts. My first mock draft of the year. We have done one, both of us, for the Tennessee Titans. We'll tell you who we selected and why, but in the meantime, we're going to get to the notebook. Now, speaking of the NFL draft, though, I should remind you that 104.5 The Zone's 2021 NFL draft coverage is sponsored by our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947. Coming up next, we're going to empty the notebook, because I got a little more on the Tim Corbin thing and a bunch of other stuff I want to complain about, which we do every Monday at this time. That's up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Wall-to-wall Titans coverage.
Just like we planned it.
It's NFL Draft Month on 104.5 The Zone.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's no secret that the housing market is red hot. Homes are selling day one, and they're going for over list price. The competition is fierce. You have to be pre-approved and working with a strong mortgage lender. Get a leg up on the competition and get pre-approved now. The 21-day closing guarantee, only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Gupton Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram not only sells great vehicles, they service them as well. Even if you didn't buy your vehicle at Gupton, you'll love their service department. Factory-trained specialists at Gupton offer competitive pricing on oil changes, batteries, brake services, new tires, tire rotation, and more. They do a multi-point inspection to make sure your vehicle is running smooth. This is Brent from 3HL. Do what I do. Have your vehicle serviced at Gupton. 3450 Tom Austin Highway, just 30 minutes from downtown Nashville. Be sure to say Brent sent you.
At All American Pest Control,
we believe in making someone's day.
We believe in helping customers
with more than just bugs.
We believe in giving our team the responsibility and authority
to do what's best for the customer on the spot.
We believe in loving, supporting,
and encouraging each other.
We believe in family.
What do you believe?
At All American Pest Control,
We believe that you can believe in us.
615-209-9929.
Or learn more at our website.
Yuckbugs.com.
TwinSpires Sportsbook is live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet for new players. With 1 week of risk-free bets up to $1,000. TwinSpires is backed by the same team as the Kentucky Derby, bringing over 140 years of excitement and wagering experience. Just download the TwinSpires app using promo code FREE1000 to get started. Void prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Tennessee to bet. See full terms and conditions at TwinSpires.com. For help with a gambling problem, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
It's red with heated seats.
Serious air conditioning.
And that little compartment thingy, where you put your sunglasses.
You found the perfect car. Now get the perfect loan with Ascend. We've got low rates, flexible terms, and you can apply online at ascend.org or at any of our branch locations.
I'm gonna name her Betty.
Auto loans from Ascend Federal Credit Union. Banking without the bank. Ascend is federally insured by NCUA. All loans are subject to credit approval.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I knew it, but I thought it was elves.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember me?
Sure I do. You called last year because you thought our truck team members wear caps to hide their elf ears.
But you don't use elves, you use fairies.
What makes you say that?
I met Charlotte. What a delight.
You met Charlotte?
First I pointed, then the junk disappeared. But the sparkle sound came a little bit late, so I said, you should probably make that sparkle sound a little bit quicker.
And then what happened?
And then Charlotte materialized out of thin air and said,
never hesitate to trade your cow for a handful of magic beans.
How did you know that?
When you give a fairy advice, they have to give you advice in return.
I love 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
When you want junk to disappear,
all you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit us at 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Veterans who refinance their VA loan with Loan Pronto are shocked at how great the rates are and how much equity they have in their homes. Hey, it's Dawn Davenport here from 3HL. Did you know that with a VA loan, you can take out as much as 90% of your home's value? That means you can get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cash out of that. Use that money to pay off credit cards, consolidate other loans, or start that home improvement project you really want to do. Even if you refinanced last year, you can do it again, and you can take advantage of your home's rise in value. Or even if you don't need cash out, you should call Loan Pronto. You should ask about their VA Streamline loans that require no income documentation, no appraisal, and no cash due at closing. And yes, you can still get VA loans in the twos. Call Loan Pronto now at 615-499-5780. Visit them, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, not all loans eligible.
Spring is finally here. Now's the time to hit those trails and sidewalks you've been missing in a fresh pair of perfectly fit New Balance running or walking shoes from the New Balance Nashville store. Our trained fit specialists get as much information as possible before matching you with the perfect pair of New Balance shoes. We've also got all the apparel and other gear you need for spring, too. There's no better time to get outside than right now. So come over to the New Balance Nashville store and get your custom-fit New Balance footwear and spring apparel today.
Yes, I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it. Let it take you away.
We'll hope on this Monday. You love to hear it. Faith Evans. Well, not Faith Evans here on 104.5 The Zone. Buck Reising here on 104.5 The Zone. With you until 1 o'clock. We'll empty the notebook here in just a second. Meantime, we got some birthday shout-outs we got to send, Lucas. A couple of birthday shout-outs we got to send. We will get to the most important. We will save the best for last, as is the custom, as is the saying. But first and foremost, a very happy birthday to Vols great Candace Parker.
A queen.
Wait, where's Stephen A?
And happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
All right.
See, now you're saving that.
See, now you've disrespected Candace Parker because you haven't taken the time to edit Stephen A. and have her version and a him version.
What do you want me to do with that? You want me to do a voiceover?
I want you to say into the microphone her, and then I want you to dub it over Stephen A. Smith.
Would you want it me saying it in his voice, or
no,
just
I want you
totally
to
different,
just total, so it sticks out like a sore thumb,
like
so
a robotic voice,
100%. Like just
the TikToks.
as monotone as human. Yeah, the TikToks. How much do you think the terrestrial radio audience knows what the hell happens on TikTok? It's very distressing to me, by the way. My favorite couple broke up on TikTok. They had a shared TikTok account. It's a whole dramatic thing. It's something we will save for another day. Meantime, happy, and I should probably look up what birthday it is, although I won't say Candace Parker's name or age just for the sake of being respectful. But in other birthday news, a very happy birthday to Steelers legend and former teammate of Troy Polamalu. A very happy 40th birthday. This is going to make you feel old. Happy 40th to Troy Polamalu.
Former teammate of Ramon Foster.
Okay,
Troy
are we not
Polamalu.
on the same page here? Where the hell is...
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
What do you think I'm doing over here? I'm out here trying to wish happy birthday. You think I care what you have to say to happy birthday to Troy Polamalu? No, I want Stephen A. Smith. What are we doing? You're not running around back there today. This is an orchestrated bit, Lucas. Theater of the mind.
I'm always running around.
No, you're fine. Everybody can see you on camera, all right? You've incriminated yourself because you are on camera. Two out of the three we're going to botch today? This is how today's going to start.
Well, you saved the best for last.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't know the age of this individual.
He told me his age.
Do you know the age?
Yeah.
What is the age?
Well, are you gonna wish him a happy birthday? Do you want me to say it?
No, I need to know how old he is.
He's 106 years old. This is directly from him.
All right, a very happy 106th birthday to 104.5 The Zone's own Kirby Allen Kirby.
And happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
Good luck, Kirby. 106 years old today.
Doesn't look a day over 104.
No, he's just it's honestly, because I don't know Kirby's actual age. I think it's best if none of us know how old Kirby actually is. I'm going to guess he's somewhere in his 60s. And Kirby, for all of the terrible things that he puts in his body, all the Pepsi, all the cigarettes, Kirby looks spectacular.
Dude bounces off walls.
I wish I don't have that. I don't have that kind of energy at 27 that Kirby does at 60 plus, and just rotting. But he's not. He looks great. You know, other than the fact that I could smell him coming from all the cigarettes. Anyway, let's open up the notebook, Lucas. We do this each and every Monday around this time. A bunch of stuff that I don't have time to dedicate a full segment to, but some good stuff that I feel that bothered me over the weekend that I feel we must address. We will open the notebook now. Oh, look at him. He's on his game now because I've called him out for the way he botched Stephen A. Smith. I'm very upset. All right. Let's start with where Lucas and I started over the weekend. Happy hour at Jonathan's, the most dangerous of games. Now, 2-for-1s when I first moved down here at 22, it did not take a toll on me the way that it used to. But 2-for-1s now, just straight up took me out on Saturday. I think at most, I don't really drink that often. Like on any given night, on any given evening out, whether it's at home, having a couple glasses of wine, or whether I have a tequila out at the bar, whatever. Like, it's very rare, even though we make jokes about me being hammered all the time. Most of you probably think I'm a lecherous drunk. It's very rare for me to have more than 2 tequilas. Well, we did that on Saturday because I was going to go to my first sporting event as a fan, really, not counting Sounds games, since college. And we did that at Nashville SC, or for Nashville SC, to watch them draw against FC Cincinnati, which is where we lead ourselves next. Draws in soccer absolutely infuriate me. And I did. I enjoyed so much. You guys heard me open the show with it. How much I enjoyed Nashville SC's opener of the 2021 MLS season. Spectacular. The effects in the stadium, all of the, what do they call it? The back line, the fan section that was sitting in the section of the stadium across from us. I sat in the north end zone, and the back line was there with the drums, the smokes, the Let My People goal. Moses dressed up back there. So much fun. But draws in soccer, infuriating to me. The game was good enough to where I almost ignored the fact that somebody did not lose and somebody did not win. but that is always going to be a tough point. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. Nashville SC, good time. Soccer, we got to fix this draw thing. Speaking of tough scenes, what is happening to Tim Corbin infuriates me. Makes me so upset. Now, if you didn't see what Tim Corbin said after Sunday's victory over the Vols baseball team, Tim Corbin said, COVID does not exist in Knoxville. And here's the full quote. This environment here, talking about Lindsey Nelson Stadium, I don't know what we're doing in Nashville, but there aren't many seats at UT now. Let me just tell you, COVID does not exist in Knoxville. There are a lot of people having a good time, and sometimes at our expense. We just needed to do our part to play baseball. They created a very, very good environment here for baseball, and I credit them, end quote. So Adam Sparks of the Tennessean did a good job following up with this and asking Tim Corbin to clarify, because Sparks has been doing this long enough. He knows how this was going to go. Because as soon as Tim Corbin says the word COVID, everybody is going to grab it for whatever purpose they want to use it for. I'm seeing articles being written now. Tim Corbin's right. Open everything up. Or people bashing Tim Corbin saying, wow, bad look, coach. You can't say this. Politicizing the simple fact that Tim Corbin dared to say the word COVID. It has become such a polarizing topic that both sides are going to weaponize it in a way that is completely and totally unfair to Tim Corbin. It's an offhand remark. If we had the comment for you, if it was available on video, we would have played it for you so that you could hear it from Tim Corbin's mouth himself. But this made me feel so much anger for what Tim Corbin, because now Tim Corbin's probably going to have to get out there, probably going to have to clarify his comments next time he speaks to the media, which is so stupid because all Tim Corbin was trying to say is that the fans who were allowed in the stadium at Lindsey Nelson Stadium were having a good time and that it made for a good environment in college baseball. Just so stupid what we do on both sides. Leave it alone. It's okay for somebody to say COVID without making it a big deal, right or left. Let it go. All right, elsewhere. Did you see, Lucas, what happened to Peloton?
No.
Over the weekend. The Peloton news over the weekend, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says it's aware of at least 39 injuries and 1 death related to the Peloton's new treadmill. Now, Peloton, everybody got a Peloton, or most people got a Peloton during the pandemic because you're working out at home, gyms are closed, right? So now Peloton has a treadmill. It's called the Tread Plus. And what happens is that even if you leave the machine turned off, it can still pose a risk if the turn-on key is still accessible. Now, in the TMZ article that I read, they attached a video that shows a toddler being pinned under the roller as it's in use. His older sister, there's 2 kids, older sister, toddler. The older sister turns the machine on, walks away. The toddler gets sucked under the treadmill itself and is pinned there. Now, fortunately, he gets out. I don't know what the extent of his injuries are, but they're out here making killer treadmills. Killer treadmills. CPSC says this is just one example of the danger. My question is, how are they supposed to test something like that? You can't exactly let Lucas and I are cat dads. You can't let a cat run by the treadmill and see whether it gets sucked under the treadmill or not. So I understand why Peloton is being beat over the head for this, but what are they supposed to do? All this says to me is that stay the hell away from treadmills, which is not advice that I needed before then. Brunch in Green Hills over the weekend. I went to brunch in Green Hills yesterday, and I live in North Nashville. Now I am a product very much of privilege. I have been spoiled all across the course of my life. So Green Hills, the environment is nothing that's new to me. All right, but I live in North Nashville, and that's not how we live in North Nashville. If I can make myself a member of the community after a few years of living up there. So I go to brunch in Green Hills, and I feel completely and totally out of place. You got moms going to lunch together, having mimosas, having a gin martini at 10:30 in the morning, talking about how much therapy their kids are needing to have. Meanwhile, in North Nashville, I'm picking alley cats out of the trash and trying to figure out, who lives, who dies. That's what goes on in North Nashville. Brunch in Green Hills, very, very lovely, but made me feel very, very out of place. And that is how we empty the notebook from this weekend. A lot of things going on. The Tim Corbin things, though, so stupid, so ignorant, and so just on brand.
He was not trying to make a statement.
I hate it because it's not one side or the other. Like, I don't care one side or the other what your politics are, how you want to make things political if you choose to make them political. Leave Tim Corbin the hell out of it. Read the quote. Listen to the quote before you go off saying, oh, Tim Corbin's right, or oh, bad look for the coach. Just shut up. Shut up. Like they tell me all the time, talk sports, dummy. We'll keep talking sports. Coming up next, I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
The 3HL. We break Titans news first.
Breaking news.
Oh, is it happening now?
Titans are hiring a senior defensive assistant, Jim
Schwartzy.
Coming back to Nashville.
The 3HL with Brent Doherty and Don Davenport. This afternoon starting at 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
This is Damon Amendolara with a CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Old Trapper, what's your beef? The NBA playoffs are almost here, and the Nets will obviously be invited. But like a distracted dinner guest looking at their phone all night, will the Nets actually be all there? Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden have not played together in 2 months. February 13th, the last time they were all on the court. And with Harden poised to return this week, KD went out again yesterday with another injury, this time a thigh contusion. Ever since his calf injury with the Warriors, he's been unable to stay on the floor. There was the Achilles in the NBA Finals, then missing all of last season. Now this season, he's in and out of the lineup again. This is his 14th year in the NBA, and let's hope this is not KD's new reality. This is Damon Amendolara.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
At Napa, we keep things moving. If it has wheels and an engine, we help keep it on the road. And if it's on the road, we have parts for it. And if you need a part, you can get it fast, like same-day pickup or next-day delivery fast. At Napa, when we're not thinking about cars, we're thinking about the people who drive them. Because when it comes to serving you and our community, our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same-day pickup and next-day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
The headlines have hit the news, claiming shortages of vehicles in Middle Tennessee, not at Music City Autoplex. Their exceptional wholesale buying ability has allowed them to increase inventory to meet your needs like no other dealership. More late model, low mileage choices, more financing options, more SUVs, more trucks, more sedans. So visit Music City Autoplex today and find more of what you want in a vehicle purchase experience. See why Music City Autoplex is growing and why they are the uncommon dealership. Located at 2430 Gallatin Pike or online at musiccityautoPlex.com.
Southern Trophy House may be our name, but we offer much more than trophies and awards. As a trusted locally owned business with more than 60 years in Nashville, we offer everything promotional to keep your brand visible, such as logoed PPE supplies, embroidered and screen-printed apparel, awards, signs, name badges, and more. Let us handle packing and shipping directly to your customers or employees, delivering top-quality items your business needs to be recognized. Give us a call today at 615-256-7295 or online at southerntrophy.com.
Some things are just true, like your local Geico agent could save you hundreds, and also you should never sneak up on a beekeeper.
Hey, beekeeper!
What the? Oh my gosh! Oh my bees! Oh no, they're headed right for the balloon factory.
Your local Geico agent could help you save 15% or more. It's just true.
Do you suffer from peripheral neuropathy in your hands and feet? Taking one drug after another, continual numbness and tinging, burning nerve pain, loss of balance and sensation? Are you trying dangerous drugs such as Lyrica, gabapentin, Neurontin, or Cymbalta with limited success? Have you been told you just have to live with it?
Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Foley, chiropractic physician and advanced clinical nutritionist. I want to let you know there is a non-invasive
non-invasive, natural solution to reduce and eliminate symptoms of neuropathy. This solution addresses the underlying cause of your condition without taking endless drugs with dangerous side effects. This approach has helped many neuropathy sufferers get their life back. I'd like to invite you to a very important webinar where we will teach you how to reverse the deadly condition by healing the nerves, increasing blood flow, and repairing the bad cells. To reserve your seat, call now 615-333-0056. This is a free seminar. Spots are limited. They will fill up fast, so call 615-333-0056.
For the first time in 2 decades, the world of outlaws and dirt car racing invades Bristol Motor Speedway, April 8th to the 10th. It's the world of outlaws, Morton Buildings Late Models, and the dirt car modifieds in the Bristol Bash. Then April 22nd to 24th, the world of outlaws, NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, together with Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds in the Bristol Throwdown. Tickets and camping now at BristolMotorspeedway.com. Bristol Bash and Bristol Throwdown this April. You don't want to miss it because
It's Bristol, baby!
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
At Jiffy Lube Multicare, their job is to keep your vehicle running right by changing old parts for new to help avoid costly repair bills down the road. They fix the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. And Jiffy Lube proudly features Pennzoil, not just oil, Pennzoil.
Brought to you by All American Pest Control. Plan starting at just $39 a month. Visit yuckbugs.com.
What's going on, Titans fans? Let's have some fun by predicting who we think the Titans will be selecting in the first round of this year's draft. Take a tour of 104.5 The Zone's 2021 mock draft as each show predicts who they think the Tennessee Titans will select, thanks to Chattanooga Whiskey. Which host made the right pick? Watch and listen as J Mart and Ramon, Blaine and Mickey, 3HL, and myself. We break down our selections by going to 1045thezone.com/2021 mock draft. Then tell us who you think the Titans will pick for a chance to win a prize pack thanks to Chattanooga Whiskey.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Studios, this is your Titans NFL Draft Station. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. Trending now at 1045 The Zone.
It is 11:02. Good morning. I'm Lucas Panzica. Alex Smith has announced his retirement. The 36-year-old was the NFL's comeback player of the year with Washington last season and the former number 1 overall pick in 2005. Tennessee has added a transfer and former Michigan quarterback Joe Milton, former 4-star from Orlando. Milton threw for 1,077 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in 6 games last year with the Wolverines. College baseball, Vandy took the series at Tennessee over the weekend, 2-1. The Vols evened things up on Saturday, but Vandy pulled away in the rubber match with a 10-4 win on Sunday. Nashville Soccer Club came back from down 2-0 for a 2-2 draw in the season opener against FC Cincinnati in Nissan Stadium Saturday. Randall Leal's long-range goal in the 64th minute tied it up. Nashville will travel to Montreal next this coming weekend. The Preds dropped 2 at Carolina over the weekend, including a 3-1 loss Saturday, currently sitting in a playoff spot, 4th place in the Central, 2 points ahead of the Blackhawks, who they will play tonight in Bridgestone. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Breaking news at once, and you're home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The most successful streaming and podcasting talent in Nashville is Buck Reising. And now he has a radio show to go along with it. Right here, it's Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone.
You ready, Mace? Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to. Yeah.
It is that time. What is going on, beautiful people? Nashville, Middle Tennessee, wherever it is that you stream 104.5 The Zone, via the app, via the website, via Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, or Twitch TV. We welcome you in on this Monday. A lot of good stuff that we have gotten to over the course of the show, by the way, if you want to interact. 615-737-1045. If you want to leave us a comment, you can do so. I can see literally, there's 9 screens in front of me. I get all your comments directly to my face, just like Joel Butcher, who writes in on Facebook Live saying, Buck, the cousin Eddie of The Zone, showed up one day and can't get rid of him. It's true. You're stuck with me, at least on this contract. You're stuck with me unless I get fired for cause for the life of this deal. Hate to break it to you, folks. 615-737-1045. Who is Cousin Eddie? Should I know that reference? I have no idea who Cousin Eddie is. Google it, Lucas. Send you scrambling.
Oh, from the Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, is that? I can't say the word, but it's full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the outfit because I've seen so many people dress up like it for Halloween. I don't think I've ever actually seen the movie. Anyway, I am Cousin Eddie. And I don't know, the bathroom is not full. That doesn't work quite as well. Anyway, 615-737-1045. We are going to get into a lot of draft talk, given that the NFL draft is 10 days away, and I am excited about it. So excited that I even talked myself into doing a mock draft. Here's my thing about mock drafts, right? We put it on a poll. And the poll is at Buck Reising is where you can vote on the polls. You can follow Lucas at Lucas Panzica. You can follow the radio station at 1045 The Zone. But in the meantime, the polls. How many mock drafts is too many mock drafts? Something we put out before the show got started this morning. 5, 10, 15 plus, those are your options. Right now, 5 is too many. 10 with 17% of the audience. 15 plus 27% of the audience. So 5 is too many mock drafts according to most people. Now, it's a long pre-draft process, and the Draft Network has made these things infinitely easier to do. This is my first one, and it's April the 19th, so I feel fairly accomplished in holding out as long as I did. It's just largely the simulations are useless to me. Like, the simulations are useless because they don't follow the information that's being reported, right? When Adam Schefter lends his credibility to the idea that Mac Jones is going to go third to the 49ers, but the simulation, recognizing the talent of Justin Fields being greater than Mac Jones, takes Justin Fields, then the simulations are void, and it's only 3 picks in.
Mine had Trey Lance with the 3rd pick.
We'll get to yours later. Dane Brugler, by the way, the godfather of The Athletic and their draft coverage, is coming up next. You'll want to stay tuned for that. A lot of good draft conversation being had around the zone for until and up into and through the NFL draft. By the way, if you listen to 1045 The Zone for the latest news and the best coverage of the NFL draft, it is brought to you by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people. Good folks. So what I did and what Lucas and I have done for today's show, and I think we're going to do it quite a bit over the course of this pre-draft process in the waning days until the NFL draft, is we're going to do mock drafts. We're going to do mock drafts on a regular basis, and this is going to be the place where we find the greatest amount of discussion. Now, I am a little more meticulous. Like, I care. I do my research up and through the 7th round. Like, I want to know who these guys are. Now, it's not on a timer. It's not a real-life situation through the mock draft simulation on the Draft Network. But because they're so easy to do and because everybody has access to them, you see everybody screenshotting and taking pictures of their drafts and tweeting me, tweeting Brent, tweeting, Ramon, tweeting Jason, like everybody across the zone. Hey, what do you guys think of my mock draft? What do you guys think of this mock draft? What do you think of that mock draft? It's incessant. It never ends. But now we're actually in the part of this where we can talk about it at length. So we'll do my mock draft now. We'll get to Lucas's after Dane Brugler of The Athletic, who's going to break down a lot of these prospects at length. So with let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 selections that the Tennessee Titans had. Now, this is no trades. This is straight up, which is also unrealistic. But let me quit diminishing my mock draft before I tell you who I selected with my mock draft. Now, first, in the first round on Thursday, 22nd overall, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley makes a ton of sense for a great many reasons. We spent a lot of time on him. He's probably the most freakish athletic player that will fall to the 20s because of the medical evaluation. Now, the medical evaluation turned out for him to be fairly good. And if you want to know who went before and directly after Caleb Farley in my mock draft, at 21, the Colts took Rashad Bateman, who, of course, the Titans should have some degree of interest in. And at 23, directly after the Titans, the New York Jets took Greg Newsome, who is probably regarded as the 3rd best corner in this draft. Scheme versatile for sure. You can play him at a lot more places than you can, whether it's Surtain, whether it is I'm blanking on the South Carolina corner.
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn. whether it's J.C. Horn, whether it's Caleb Farley, Greg Newsome is regarded as the most scheme versatile player in this draft, or at least of the top corners. So Caleb Farley at 22 is where I decided to spend the Titans draft capital. Then in the second round, I took Brevin Jordan, who is the draft comp is literally Jonnu Smith. If you're looking for tight end one, maybe he's not ready or as ready as Jonnu was in his last year here in Tennessee to be your starting tight end right out of the gate, but he's as close as you can get by comparison. Brevin Jordan, the tight end out of Miami. Now, here's where I kind of took a different approach, because I'm going into my mock draft looking at the Tennessee Titans and saying, okay, financially, they still have some work to do to get under the salary cap when the top 53 contracts count against the cap. Right now, if you look at top 51, they're sitting about $6 million under as the contracts of Bud Dupree, of Janoris Jenkins, of Danico Autry have been reported. Based on that information, the Titans are about $6 million under the cap based on all of the information that we have available to us on the internet. And I'm looking at Roger Saffold's contract. And I'm looking at Roger Saffold's age. I'm also looking at Roger Saffold's workout pictures and videos because they are insane what this man is doing on the internet. But right now, Roger Saffold, in his second year with the Tennessee, or excuse me, his third year, going into his third year with the Tennessee Titans, at age 32, Roger dealt with a lot of different, what do you want to call him? He's a little banged up last year. Now, he played through it, to his credit, as much as he could. And he's a tough dude. He's a physically overpowering player. But I looked at Trey Smith sitting there at 85, and I said, at some point, you're going to have to replace Roger Saffold. And I think that Trey Smith is really, really good value there for the Tennessee Titans. Understanding that you have needs at wide receiver, understanding that you have needs at tackle, at edge, at safety. But I looked at Trey Smith sitting there at 85, of course, Trey Smith from Tennessee, and I said, that's too good to pass up. I took James Hudson with the Titans' next selection because they have they have 4 picks in the first 3 days. Or excuse me, in the first 2 days. 4 picks in the first 2 days. And so I saw Trey Smith sitting there at 85. I saw James Hudson at 100, the tackle out of Cincinnati, and I said, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, people are going to be screaming at me, where is the wide receiver? Where is the wide receiver? And I waited until the 4th round to take Dez Fitzpatrick, the wide receiver out of Louisville, for this reason. Because, Lucas, you did your mock draft this morning. We'll get to your mock draft after we get to Dane Brugler. But you were doing your mock draft this morning, and what did you say to me of the wide receivers in this draft class?
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. There are so damn many wide receivers. And everybody is gravitating towards the names that they recognize because those are the biggest names, those are the best names, and those are the names that are going to continue to get circulated without paying due attention to all of the other wide receivers in this draft. Dez Fitzpatrick is a good player. Now, he's not explosively athletic. The college career of Dez Fitzpatrick was not flashy. They did not have a good football team. They did not have a good quarterback situation at Louisville after Lamar Jackson left. But what stands out to me about Fitzpatrick, particularly in this Titans offense, is that he's physical and he's a technician as a route runner, meaning you can put him in a bunch of different places and he will understand a fully formed route tree, or he will get better at it as he develops as a pro. There's a lot of good things to like there about Dez Fitzpatrick. He's competitive after the catch. Yards after contact is what this offense thrives upon. Yes, they do at some point need speed. Without question. They need somebody who is going to be capable of, if not catching a deep ball, at least shifting the secondary, shifting the safeties to attract attention and helping take the top off of defense. Dez Fitzpatrick is not that player, but he's a good wide receiver. He's one of so many in this draft. It's why I felt comfortable waiting until the 4th round in my mock draft to take him. Then at 166, Jonathan Cooper, the edge defender out of Ohio State, probably one of the Ohio State's defense was totally mismatched against Alabama's offense in the championship game, but Jonathan Cooper is somebody that stood out to me. Mustafa Johnson, interior defensive lineman, Ernest Jones from South Carolina, the linebacker. And then with 232, I took a quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, out of Texas. That is my mock draft. It addresses a lot of the needs. The only player or the only position that I did not draft was safety. Now, we'll get with Dane Brugler coming up next of The Athletic. He puts out the Beast, the biggest, baddest draft handbook of all of the draft handbooks, and there are many. Dane will tell me how realistic or how viable my mock draft is. We'll do Lucas's in this hour as well. But I got to remind you that all of our draft coverage here on 104.5 The Zone is brought to you by the way, actually, not just the draft coverage, but the mock draft, the Zone mock draft that's going on now. It's presented by Chattanooga Whiskey. You can take a tour of 104.5 The Zone's 2021 mock draft and then submit who you think the Tennessee Titans will select in the first round of the draft for a chance to win a prize pack from Chattanooga Whiskey. To enter, go to 1045thezone.com/contest, and you can see who all of the Zone on-air staff has selected for their Titans mock draft. Dane Brugler coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey understand.
Yeah. We understand.
Blaine and Mickey, this afternoon, 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
You got that, Blaine? Masvidal and Usman put on a show the last time they stepped into the octagon. Round 2 is sure to pack a punch. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is putting you in the center of this weekend's title fight. 26-1 odds is what they're offering you on either title contender to reign victorious. Either pick either main event fighter to win during this weekend's UFC 261 title fight, and DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 26-1 odds. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code WGFX when you sign up to turn $5 into $130 if the title contender of your choice wins. Place your bet and watch the fists fly this weekend. That's code WGFX to turn $5 into $130 if the fighter of your choosing takes home the crown for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
What's holding you back from solving your tax problems? If it's cost, know that the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in Nashville. Tax resolution doesn't have to be expensive, and waiting year after year to resolve your tax problems can be extremely costly. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. So take the first step now and hire a tax resolution attorney to help you. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. But the longer you wait, the more interest and penalties you'll pay. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 615-733-8168 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Every day we encounter non-emergencies, blocked sidewalks, abandoned cars, noisy neighbors. None are good, but none are true emergencies either. Metro Nashville 911 dispatchers receive over 11,000 non-emergency calls each month that should be going to 311 instead. These calls waste valuable time that could be used saving lives. So the next time you need to report an emergency, make the right call. 911 for real emergencies. 311 for everything that's not.
Twin Spire Sportsbook is live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet for new players. With 1 week of risk-free bets up to $1,000. Twin Spires is backed by the same team as the Kentucky Derby, bringing over 140 years of excitement and wagering experience. Just download the Twin Spires app using promo code FREE1000 to get started. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit twinspires.com. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Tennessee to bet. See full terms and conditions at twinspires.com. For help with a gambling problem, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Need some cash for that home improvement project or ready to wipe out all that credit card debt? Don Davenport here, and Loan Pronto is where you need to go to make it happen. With their zero-cost refi program, you can refinance your mortgage now and get cash out of your home's equity. People are doing this and getting checks for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Now that's a stimulus check. Rates are still super low, and Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it easy. They can cover your closing costs. Your home's value is up. That gives you access to lots of cash. Don't put this off. Refi now with Loan Pronto and be credit card debt-free for the summer. You can even skip your next couple of house payments. Get cash out now to fix up that home office or remodel your kitchen. Maybe build a pool. Call now. Ask about Loan Pronto zero-cost cash out refi at 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not available on all loans.
If you're thinking about selling your home this spring, now is the time. Hey, this is Dawn Davenport from 3HL. And when it comes to selling your home, experience matters. The Wall Street Journal ranked Mark Spain Real Estate #1 in the U.S. for closed transactions for the third year in a row. So if you need to sell your home, they can help you today. And when you call them, they respond fast. 855-299-SOLD is the number. Sell your home hassle-free and skip the constant cleaning, repairs, and all the stress that goes with it. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate gives you an opportunity to receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days, and their offers are the strongest in the industry. They've been in the business for over 25 years. Trust me, they've served over 25,000 families. They know what matters most. A quick sale, maximum profit. No showings, no open houses, no stress. It's simple. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. markspain.com and start packing.
Identity thieves love tax forms with personal info needed to steal your identity. That's why LifeLock helps protect, monitor, and restore your identity. No one can monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com. Promo code RISK.
This sports hour brought to you by TrainInfo.com.
Get a great deal this spring on a new Train heating and cooling system. At Train, we test so it runs. Visit TrainInfo.com to find your local dealer and learn more. It's hard to stop a train.
All the little kids growing up on the skids are going Cleveland rocks. Cleveland
Lucas is such a sports radio hack. Cleveland rocks. Not just because the NFL draft coming up in 10 days is in scenic Cleveland, Ohio, but our next guest, a native of Cleveland, a native Ohioan. It feels like if you want anything to do with the NFL or football in general, you have to come out of the state of Ohio, or at least that's what Mike Vrabel would tell you. Dane Brugler of The Athletic is here on 104.5 The Zone. You can follow Dane at DP Brugler. My brother, what's going on? Long time no talk.
That Mr. Vrabel's a smart man. Yeah, he knows his football. Yeah, you kind of, when you're born here, you kind of have a football in your hand, and you got Canton and everything else, all the rich traditions. So yeah, definitely very proud of that.
No question about it. Now, are you calling him Mr. Vrabel because he looks like somebody who must be called Mr. Vrabel? Because I feel like if you had a draft of coaches who you would have to put Mr. in front of Vrabel, might be up there.
That's exactly right. Some guy, oh, hey, coach. Hey, oh, Mr. Vrabel. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
So Dane is the author of the much-anticipated Out Now Beast, well worth your time for your subscription and your dollars, well worth your subscription at theathletic.com for all of the great journalism being done there. He also has a new 7-round mock draft out that we will get to momentarily. Yeah, for a long time there, though, Dane, I think I was 23 Vrabel's first year on the job covering the team, and I felt like in a press conference setting, like I was grilling one of my parents' dads, and it felt very, very uncomfortable for me for a long time. So I almost one time called him Mr. Vrabel, but that's a conversation for another day. The Tennessee Titans right now are in an interesting situation. They are cap-strapped like all hell. They have first-round draft capital, but not necessarily in a place where you want to be picking in the first round, given their season success last year winning the division, 22 overall. I think, Dane, where you have the Titans right now, selecting in the first round at 22, I think most people think it makes more sense for the Titans to trade out, but the thing that goes almost it doesn't go under-discussed or not discussed at all, but the idea of trading back, you have to have somebody who's willing to come up to 22, and that's not as easy. It's not as easily said as it is done.
Right, and I think in most drafts, and this one isn't too different, there's about 20 first-round grades or so, and then picks 21 to 50, you feel like there's not much separation there, and so I hear a lot of fans from teams in that back half of round one say, "We'll trade back. That's the best thing to do." And great plan, but yeah, you need someone to trade. You need a trading partner there, and who's going to trade up? Is there going to be a quarterback there that a team's going to trade up for? That which position is going to be a strength there that the team's going to really want to trade assets to move up? So. I think it's great in theory, but it's going to be tough to pull off. And I think, the Titans, the Jets, the Browns, there's a few teams there that I think are looking to trade back, but it's tough to do. But I think when you look at the Titans and some of their needs on this roster, it might actually work out well with where they're drafting. Pass rusher. We've been spoiled the last few years with the top 10 guy, whether that's the Bosas, whether that's Chase Young, whether that's Myles Garrett. This year we don't have that guy,
right.
But there's still some quality pass rushers in this draft, and they're really all in that back half of round one. Talking about Kwity Paye or Azeez Ojulari or Jalen Phillips, Jason Owe, whichever one is your favorite. There's a chance Titans will have their chance at them at 22. And so there's a realistic possibility that the Titans could draft their top-ranked pass rusher in this draft. I think Christian Barmore, the defensive lineman out of Alabama, is going to be very intriguing. I don't know that that's necessarily the top need, but when you think of John Robinson, and he loves SEC linemen. He wants to build in the trenches, and so I think that's a possibility there. You look at corner as a possibility with maybe a Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, and his fall from grace being a top 10 talent, but with the medicals involved, he's got a big discount sticker on his draft grade. So, could he be a possibility there? So there's a lot of, we have to see how the first 20 picks play out, obviously. That's going to determine a lot. But the Titans, they might be in a good spot at 22 to get a player that fits what they're looking for, both talent and needs, to help them in this upcoming season.
See, the positions that you just mentioned there, Dane, and I think this is where most Titans fans are kind of at odds with a lot of the analysis being done in the draft is those are defensive positions. Obviously, the Titans defense atrocious last year. Now they have gone out and addressed that through free agency with Bud Dupree, Danico Autry. They blew up their secondary a little bit, but went out and got Janoris Jenkins, who still by Game Pass watching him with the Saints last year seems to have a fair amount of good football left in him. But at this point, they're looking at their offense and saying, well, we got used to scoring 30.1 points per game. We let Corey Davis walk. Jonnu Smith is now a New England Patriot. The skill position players here in Tennessee are obviously still very, very talented, A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, but the idea of going defense over offense, I think is unless it's a corner, given what we just talked about with the secondary, I think most people would kind of turn their nose up at that. But I think what you've said there about John Robinson and the identity of this team, or of what he's trying to build this team back into, has to start in the trenches and on the defensive side of the ball. Now, you've selected in your latest mock draft, a 7-round mock draft that's available right now at theathletic.com, along with Dane Brugler's draft guide, The Beast, one of the most, if not the most comprehensive draft guide of all of the draft guides. By the way, thank you so much for all that you do, Dane, to make people like me smarter with that draft guide. It's invaluable for all of us who are talking constantly about the draft leading up to the pre-draft process. But Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle out of Alabama, I think the question for me is where exactly would he play, understanding that you're not just going to trot two defensive tackles out there and they're going to play every snap. Obviously, at every position on defense, there's going to be some kind of a rotation. But with Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry, I don't know necessarily what I guess makes him intriguing with two players like that, understanding that he wouldn't be seeing the bulk of the snaps.
Well, and I think we have to remember that, the first people, most fans will correlate their first round pick with the top need. And that's just, we watch the draft every year, and that's just not how it plays out. The board doesn't always fall that way where, the top need matches the top talent. But also a lot of GMs, they're forward thinking. They're not just thinking about the upcoming season and, okay, what's the missing piece? It's not like Madden where that's what you're trying to do. You're looking at long term, what would make us the best football team. And, a guy like Barmore, who's a redshirt sophomore, still very young, still learning, but the ceiling on this player is super high. 6'4", 310, almost 34-inch arms. He's a guy that just doesn't like to stay blocked. And so you can line him up. He played more of a defensive end role at Alabama, and they're 3-4, they're hybrid front. But you can mix and match him. And, with guys that you're running a rotation out there anyways, he's still going to see a good amount of snaps. So I don't think that's as much of a worry, me personally. But I would understand why some fans would be, kind of look at that and say, well, that's not what we need. That's not, and I get that, but kind of how the board falls, I think it's at least a possibility, especially when you factor in John Robinson, the way, he wants to build in the trenches. He loved SEC guys. 5 of the last 6 picks in the first 2 rounds, SEC guys. And I think, to your point on offense, Kyle Pitts is going early. The next tight end is not going to be off the board until probably the mid-second round. So tight end's not an option there at 22. Wide receiver could be. You don't rule that out at all. But I think with the wide receiver class this year, the way it stretches, I think you can feel pretty confident that maybe you can find another quality talent like an A.J. Brown in round 2, in round 3, because of the way that this wide receiver class is, how strong it is, and how it's going to push some good players that maybe normally would go second round, maybe to the third round, and just the way that the value is at that position. So you could look at it that way as well, where they feel like, okay, defensive tackle, we're not going to get a guy like Barmore in the second round, third round. Let's go with him here, and we can get our wide receiver, a wide receiver and tight end somewhere in the next few rounds. I think that in the way my mock draft ended up, that's how they got Hunter Long in the 4th round out of Boston College. I believe I gave him Tutu Atwell, the wide receiver, at Louisville in the 3rd round. So, in that scenario, I know the first-round pick wasn't ideal for what a lot of fans are thinking, but I think, the totality of the draft class in that haul, I think, made sense.
So I think that's the biggest thing, Dane, that we find throughout the course of the months that we have to talk about this thing before the actual event of the NFL draft comes up is what you're saying there about the wide receivers rings so true to me, because I looked at the depth of the wide receivers in this draft class and said, well, there's really no great urgency. Yes, you do need somebody to complete your wide receiving room. You can't run out there with A.J. Brown, Josh Reynolds, and Cam Batson and that be your starting wide receiving core. It's just not good enough. But the depth in this particular class, I think people, and this is a sports media issue, not necessarily a draft media issue, but sports media, we get so obsessed with the top names, especially at the sexiest positions, wide receiver being premium among them, that you forget about, or at least the larger public forgets about, everybody else who's in this draft, and that your team can consistently improve between rounds 2 and 5 in a way that creates something substantive. When you're looking at later round wide receivers that make sense for the Tennessee Titans, understanding that the offensive coordinator has changed here, but a lot of the principles are going to stay similar to what they want to run. Big-bodied guys, contested catch guys, still in need of a slot player. Who kind of stands out to you maybe as a day 3 wide receiver that you say, okay, it makes a lot of sense for the Titans to kind of sit back and let the draft board fall to them, given that this guy is going to be sitting here on day 3?
Yeah, no, there'll be plenty of options throughout day 2. If they wait till day 3, same type of thing. It depends on, what type of receiver they're looking for. If they're looking for a slot starting in, round 4 when day 3 starts, then, you look at a guy like Cade Johnson out of South Dakota State, who's 5'10 and a half, 184 pounds, a guy that had no problem getting open at the Senior Bowl during practice. He's really quick, catches everything, just a really dependable player. I think he would make sense at that point in the draft. If you're looking for more of that big body who is going to go up and rebound the football, then, maybe a guy like Simi Fehoko out of Stanford, 6'4", 222 pounds. He's going to play on special teams, and he's going to be that presence where he can pluck outside of his body, that catch radius. There's a lot to like with him. Cornell Powell out of Clemson. He's someone that'll be off the board in that 4th, 5th round area. 6 foot, 205 pounds. He's maybe not explosive, but every step has a purpose. And the way he can zero in on the football is really impressive. Maybe we look over at Knoxville with a player like Josh Palmer out of Tennessee, where the production is not going to impress you. But I think that's more of a product of the quarterback and the offense and the problems that the Vols had on that side of the football, and not the talent that Josh Palmer offers. 6'1", 210, good speed. Watch him against Alabama and watch him win against Patrick Surtain on the outside. Really impressive. So he's fearless over the middle of the field. You feel like he has yet to play his best football. So, this draft has those options, rounds 3, rounds 4, round 5. You can get some quality players that might end up outplaying where they're ultimately drafted.
Dane Brugler of The Athletic is here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
So, Dan, you have 5 wideouts taken in the first round of the upcoming draft in your latest mock for The Athletic. Last year it was the second most drafted position. 35 were taken, 6 in the first round. With the direction of college football offenses and how that's kind of trending, how much consideration do you think general managers are taking into the fact that there's going to be a lot of depth there and a lot of value, not just this season, in the next draft, in the draft after that? How much are they taking that into consideration, if at all?
Yeah, no, definitely. As offenses change, as these you look at the way that these offenses are running with 4 wide, and they're being more creative. Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss is a great example. In Lane Kiffin's offense, he was force-fed the football. He led the FBS last year in catches per game with 10.8. And so, the production looks great. Almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. But a lot of it was underneath stuff. A lot of it was the way that they used him on offense. And so, you have to have a plan in place for a guy like that. But the speed's awesome. He ran in the 4.35 in the 40-yard dash. But it'll be interesting because we know it's a triple up effect where, high school offense is what they do, eventually gets to college. What college is doing, that's going to the NFL. And in the NFL, we're seeing a lot more spread. We're seeing a lot more, let's just get our best athletes on the field. And so we're going to see more and more wide receivers drafted. Last year, we set a record in the first 2 rounds with 12 wide receivers drafted. This year, we could see more receivers drafted in the first 3 rounds than we did last year. So it's going to be a very well-represented position, not just because of need, but because the talent is there as well. A guy like Rondale Moore out of Purdue, he'd be probably somewhere in consideration for the Titans with what he could offer out of the slot. 5'7", 180 doesn't look like much, but just get him the ball and let him have fun. Let him create. Let him do some things. And so it's really interesting, the dynamic of the wide receiver position, and I think it's here to stay. We're not going to see some low points in this position. It's going to be a strength, and that's something that teams will take into consideration. We're still going to see Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith drafted high, but some teams are going to look at this and say, hey, we still feel good. Let's get our pass rusher here. Let's get our offensive tackle here, and we feel good about De'Ami Brown in the second round or Amari Rodgers out of Clemson on day 2, because it's just a position that's going to stretch.
Dane, the situation with Trevor Lawrence, where everybody is taking these quotes from the Sports Illustrated piece, likely not having read the Sports Illustrated piece, and creating more conversation out of them than need be. It does kind of bring some, and you've been doing this for a long time. Obviously, I don't want to tell people your age, but you've been doing this for a long time without being very old. So it's a credit to you and your work ethic. But you know a lot about this process more than the average person does, obviously. Throughout the course of this, there are conversations being had about why we can't just allow players to say what they want to say and be the kind of people who they want to be. But ultimately, what it comes down to, Dane, or at least maybe you can remind the audience of this or give them your perspective on this, is that NFL talent evaluators don't care how well-rounded of a person you are. They want to know that when you're going up against, in the Titans case, when you're going up against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, that you're not going to be distracted by the fact that you have outside interests, or it's not going to be too tough on you, and you feel like there is something better that you can be doing with your time. How singularly focused are NFL draft evaluators on simply the football side of things, and everything else, just comes as extra for them?
It's tough because it's a legitimate conversation to have. You could think back to, a guy like Paxton Lynch when he was coming out of Memphis. There were questions about, he doesn't have an extensive resume. How much, is he going to really buy into this? And, John Elway had to play the position for a long time in the NFL. after meeting with him, after, all this work, decided, okay, Paxton Lynch is the guy for us. Turns out he did not love football enough to play it at the highest level. And that's just how it's a hard thing to do, because you think a guy is going to be all about football, and that's ideally what you want. But maybe what you should be looking for is someone who, is more well-balanced and, still holds football as a high priority, but is going to have the frame of mind where it's not going to be all end all for him. And so it's tough. Each different person and their mentality, the way they view the world, the way they go home at night, it's all different. And so you have to almost look at it on a case-by-case basis. And with Trevor Lawrence, I've never heard anything but good things, glowing things from scouts about his character, his moral compass, the way he carries himself. But it does get tricky when you talk about, okay, does he have other interests? Does he want to affect the world in different ways? And you don't want to trivialize that. But at the same time, some teams, if you're not all football all the time, that might bother them a little bit. And I think more and more coaches are coming around. Bruce Arians has a policy on his staff. If any of his assistants miss a ballet recital or a football game for one of his kids, that's a problem, and that's an issue. And so more and more coaches, I think, are understanding of just the balance that's required, and just working smarter and not harder, that type of deal. And with quarterbacks, it's the same type of thing. You want balanced people, balanced humans in your locker room. You just have to make sure that football is their top priority, even if the priority list includes other things as well.
Dane, now for the most important question before we get you out of here. How many interviews have you done today?
This is 6. So today, I have a double-digit quota. All right, I can't do more than double digits because it just gets too much. So, but no, when you guys asked, I moved things around. I said, sorry, I can't do this one. I can't do that one. I got to make time for this one. So, no worries there.
Oh, flattery will get you everywhere. That's just a damn lie, though. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, we appreciate your time. Buddy, continued success. We love the product that you put out. Well worth your subscription at theathletic.com. You can follow my man, Dane Brugler, at DP Brugler on the socials. Enjoy the pre-draft process. But Dane, just take a little time for yourself, okay? You're running yourself ragged at the expense of all of the sports talk radio stations across the country. Take a little time. Namaste.
10 more days. So, all right. Until next time, guys.
See you, Dane Brugler of The Athletic. That's outrageous. 6 already today. Double digits.
Anyway. I thought 5 was a lot with Jim Nagy.
Oh, listen, Jim's they're all everybody in the country is calling like one set of 10 people and just burying them with the same questions week in and week out. But good information there. We'll react to it, and Lucas will give you his mock draft selections as well as some breaking news. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
One of the hottest pro sports teams can be found right here in Nashville. Your Predators. And for the best Predators coverage, it's 104.5 The Zone.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now. It's a tailgate party on game day. It's a welcome to the neighborhood. It's another anniversary of the start of something good. It's sharing Bluebell ice cream as the evening sun goes down. The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Some things are just true, like your local Geico agent could save you hundreds. And also, 2-year-olds will always ask why.
It's lunchtime.
Why?
Because you're hungry.
Why?
Because humans need food.
Why?
Because we convert it to energy, blood, and muscle and bone.
Why?
Because I love you.
Your local Geico agent could help you save 15% or more. It's just true.
The signs of spring are all around us. Warmer weather, longer days, flowers blooming, and mosquitoes. That's right, mosquitoes will be out in force this spring, and nothing will spoil outdoor fun more quickly than itchy mosquito bites. Luckily, you can take back your yard with Arrow Exterminators and their mosquito control service. The experts at Arrow identify the source of the problem and then treat it using the most effective and environmentally friendly mosquito control available today so that you can take back your yard all spring and summer long. Have peace of mind knowing that family-owned Arrow Exterminators has over 57 years protecting homes and businesses from pests and termites, and they've built their reputation on great customer service, which is why they back all their services with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So whether you're trying to fight off itchy mosquito bites or just want to set up preventative service, you can trust the pest control experts at Arrow Exterminators. Schedule a free pest inspection today. Call 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com.
I'm Mick McGorn from 1 Hour, and spring is the best time to rejuvenate your AC with a maintenance plan I call
Mick's Trifecta.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Naming it after me?
Of course, Mick. Your spring AC maintenance package protects your system 3 ways.
I don't like to draw attention to myself.
That's crazy. You're a natural.
You think so?
The camera loves you, Mick.
This is radio, Ryan.
So tell us why Mick's Trifecta is such a great service.
First, your system is completely cleaned on the inside. Perfect.
Then what?
Every moving part lubricated so it runs smooth. Perfect.
And then?
Your system is tuned and calibrated to factory specs. Perfect.
Running at maximum efficiency.
And all this for only
$133.
Okay, Ryan, I guess we can call it Mick's Trifecta.
1hourmick.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Make your appointment for Mick's Trifecta.
Guaranteed 3 ways.
Good idea on the name, Ryan. Maybe I'll keep you around a bit longer.
Independently owned and operated.
If you're thinking about selling your home this spring, now's the time. Hey, it's Mickey Ryan, and when it comes to selling your home, experience matters. The Wall Street Journal ranked Mark Spain Real Estate #1 in the U.S. for closed transactions for the 3rd year in a row. If you need to sell your home, they can help you today. And when you call them, they respond fast. You can sell your home hassle-free and skip the constant cleaning, repairs, and all the stress with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You can receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days, and their offers are the strongest in the industry. Trust me, they've been in the business for over 25 years and have served over 25,000 families, and they know what matters most: a quick sale and maximum profit. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to bypass the market and sell your home hassle-free. One of their clients, Chris, said, Mark Spain Real Estate made selling our home easy and stress-free with their guaranteed offer program. We got an offer above market value, exceeding my expectations. Mark Spain Real Estate allowed me to sell my house and move out on my time. No showings, no open houses, no stress. It's that simple. Work with the most trusted team in real estate. 855-299-SOLD to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Twin Spire Sportsbook is live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet for new players. With 1 week of risk-free bets up to $1,000. Twin Spires is backed by the same team as the Kentucky Derby, bringing over 140 years of excitement and wagering experience. Just download the Twin Spires app using promo code FREE1000 to get started. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit twinspires.com. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Tennessee to bet. See full terms and conditions at twinspires.com. For help with a gambling problem, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Attention CDLA truck drivers. U.S. Foods is having a hiring event Saturday, April 24th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 98 Terminal Court in Nashville. $7,500 sign-on bonus and great benefits. For more information, call 847-268-5956.
Ooh, smooth vibes. I feel like we're in a lounge somewhere, like a hotel lounge. There's a lot of shag carpet. Sexually suggestive. Here on 104.5 The Zone. Buck Reising with you until 1 o'clock.
Bearskin on the floor right there.
I have a bearskin rug. Well, I don't have a bearskin rug. My parents have a real bearskin rug. My stepdad went bear hunting. It's like a birthday present to himself. He dropped himself in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness. No guide, no nothing. Went hunting for a bear. Came back with a black bear.
The coolest thing you could ever do. Ever.
Richard Rising is not a man to be trifled with. But he, yes, does have a bearskin rug. It's in front of the fireplace. Very, very masculine. I would never. Have you ever been hunting? I could
Never.
Never
I don't
want.
trust myself.
Well, I went. He took me deer hunting one time, and I don't mind getting up early because obviously you get up at like 3:30. By the way, we're gonna get to Lucas's mock draft here in a second. Many of you are commenting on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, or Twitch TV. I will read your comments momentarily. I'm currently also getting dragged across the face of the internet yet again for a movie that I have not seen. We'll tell you all about that here in a second. But it's not. I went deer hunting with him for the first time, and I don't mind getting up at 3 a.m. Like, it's 2 hours earlier than I normally get up. So you get up at 3 a.m. You wear the appropriate gear, but I'd never been in a deer stand before, much less a deer stand. Like, I thought a deer stand was like a tree house, basically. And some of them are, but not the one that I was given. And so it's 3 a.m. It's freezing cold. I am very unhappy about being there largely. And I've shot a gun before, but it is not something that I'm terribly comfortable with. So the deer stand that I'm given is one that comes in 2 parts. And you essentially scale the tree with the deer stand. So you've got one part, which is the seat, and it has teeth in it that you hook onto the tree, like dig into the tree, and then pull yourself up while the second part is attached to your feet. And you're basically like scaling the tree, attaching the top part, pulling yourself up, hooking your feet, and then reattaching the top part. Like you're straight up climbing the tree. Okay? And this is without the gun. So I'm up. I finally get up there, and I am not in a position to be doing this kind of athletic, not necessarily athletics, but I'm just not in the kind of shape that I would use to a climbing stand. Josh Graham points out on Facebook Live. Thank you, Josh. So I'm using a climbing stand, for those of you who are more familiar with the hunting vernacular, trying to get up the side of the tree. Okay, so I get up the side of the tree. And then I'm trying to figure out, well, how the hell am I going to get the gun up here? And then all of a sudden my stepdad ties a string to the gun, throws the string up and says, "Hey, dummy, just pull it up." I'm like, where'd you tie this string to? Because the only thing that I could think of is like the steel part of the trigger. Again, I'm sure I sound like an idiot. People who actually go hunting know what this is. Raymond Pfister on Twitch says, cannot see Buck hunting or having a gun at all. Coffee, cell phone while getting his toes done is more like it, which is exactly spot on. I am 100% a pedicure, coffee, book, cell phone, whatever. That is my type of deal. John Moss on Periscope says this sounds like a nightmare. In fact, it was one.
It does sound terrible.
It was awful.
When I listen to you spell it out, it sounds like just a terrible experience.
It was awful, and now we're down this rabbit hole, so we'll get to Lucas's mock draft coming up next. But so I'm scaling the side of the tree. And so he sends up the rope for me to like pull the gun up there, which I'm terrified of because I'm afraid I'm going to shoot myself in the face. I don't know anything to do with this. It's a 22, okay? So I get the gun up there, and then I'm just sitting there. And obviously, I don't want to move because I'm afraid that this climbing stand that I've had to attach to the side of the tree myself is not going to hold me up. And if I move, I'm going to plummet to my death with a gun in my hand and also get shot on the way down. So I'm waiting to see a deer, waiting to see a deer, waiting to see a deer. 3 hours pass. And the most wildlife that I see is a squirrel that continues to troll me because he's scrambling around on the tree next to me, making me think that there is a deer coming, but no deer appears. 3 hours in a tree, no deer to show for it. Honestly, if a deer had shown up, it wouldn't have mattered. I would have panicked. I probably would have shot myself anyway instead of shooting the actual deer. And then had I shot the deer, I would have probably been too queasy to do the field dressing part of it. I don't know if people actually field dress. I'm sure some people do. But I don't want to take a picture with a dead animal. See all these people holding up the deer antlers, taking a picture with the deer? I don't want to touch that thing.
I like deer.
Yeah, deer they don't bother me, except when it's dark and I'm trying to drive.
I don't want to kill a deer. What do I want to kill a deer for?
No, listen, some people like to hunt. I understand.
It's a great pastime.
Venison, very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
If you kill what you eat, which I hope most people do. Otherwise, you're just, out here murdering deer. Not ideal. But so the hunting situation, not for me. That's the only experience I've had. So have you ever even thought about it?
No, I mean, I've like shot clay before, which is fun, but it's even that. Like, I just don't trust my hand-eye coordination. I don't want to have to trust my hand-eye coordination with a weapon in my hands. Like, I will reap the rewards. Like, I'll eat the venison. I just won't do the hard work to get the venison on my plate.
No, venison, delightful. Not worth the hassle. Like, I'll go to Whole Foods. They have venison. It's better for you. My version of hunting is trying to make sure I find the right aisle in Whole Foods.
I'm just not a patient person. Even like fishing can be fun, but I can fish for one day and then I never want to fish for like weeks.
Now, fishing is like therapeutic. There's a difference between fishing and hunting. Hunting, you're in some place where you're probably not comfortable. The weather is not great, especially if you're duck hunting and you're waist deep in freezing cold water in like November, I think is when duck season starts or something like that. I don't know anything about hunting. Here we are talking to a full segment on hunting. You didn't think you were going to get this today on the radio show. But yes, nothing sounds worse to me than spending that much time in that kind of weather waiting for something that you may or may not actually see, and then having to take a life in your own hands and then take a picture with it afterwards. I don't want anything to do with the dead deer pictures. If that's how you vibe, that's totally cool. But it is not for me, and apparently not for Lucas either. What is for us, though, is the draft. What is for us, though, is the mock drafts, because we are knee-deep in mock drafts. We are getting closer and closer, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, here on 104.5 The Zone, to the NFL Draft. Lucas is going to give you who he selected in his Titans mock draft coming up next. But first, I got to remind you that 104.5 The Zone's 2021 NFL Draft coverage is sponsored by our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947. More mock drafts, more draft conversation coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Subscribe to the 3HL podcast. It's never been easier to get Brent Doherty and Don Davenport whenever you want them. All the big interviews, best takes, fun, and entertainment delivered to your smartphone by subscribing to 3HL wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Damon Amendolara with a CBS Sports Minute. Sponsored by Cordell & Cordell. Fair divorce for men. Visit dadsdivorce.com. The dumbest take in sports right now is that Trevor Lawrence doesn't love football enough. This pathetic opinion derives from Lawrence admitting that he doesn't create fake slights or manufacture chips on his shoulder to motivate himself. And what's wrong with that? News to the knuckle draggers that assume you have to hate George Karl because he didn't shake your hand at dinner to be great. You don't. Plenty of successful people in this world are motivated by just being the very best version of themselves, by embracing the work and the process without the simplistic, they didn't believe in me. Tom Brady won't stop saying this, and Michael Jordan used to say it too, but this just in. Lawrence is going to be great because he's already started from a positive mental standpoint. This is Damon Amendolara.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Spring is finally here. Now's the time to hit those trails and sidewalks you've been missing in a fresh pair of perfectly fit New Balance running or walking shoes from the New Balance Nashville store. Our trained fit specialists get as much information as possible before matching you with the perfect pair of New Balance shoes. We've also got all the apparel and other gear you need for spring, too. There's no better time to get outside than right now. So come over to the New Balance Nashville store and get your custom-fit New Balance footwear and spring apparel today.
Hello, Nashville. Tim Pearson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey. After years of developing our own rich malt-forward style of bourbon we call Tennessee High Malt, we bring you Chattanooga Whiskey 111. The bold, unfiltered, 111 proof bourbon we fell in love with, straight from the cask into your favorite sipping glass. With notes of chocolate-covered cherries, toasted coconut, and butterscotch, we hope you'll love it as much as we do. Ask about us at your favorite local retailer or bar. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey 111. Enjoy responsibly.
Fleet Cards USA.
Fleet Cards USA. Barb speaking.
Hey, Barb. So I'm a fleet manager for a mid-sized trucking company.
Nice. Trucking is one of our sweet spots.
How can I make sure my drivers stop where they get the best price for fuel instead of choosing places because they have good hot dogs?
You mean truck stops where you get the best pricing?
Bingo.
Easy. With fuel cards, you'll get better negotiated discounts with some of the top merchants nationwide.
Well, sign me up.
Go to fleetcardsusa.com, answer a few questions, and bam, you're good to go.
Fleet Cards USA.
Hit the jackpot on Vegas-sized thrills at Oak Grove Gaming. Just a quick spin from Nashville off I-24. Win big on over 1,300 of the latest and greatest games. Indulge in all your favorites at our 4 fantastic restaurants, including our signature steakhouse, Garrison Oak. Live it up at our lively bars and lounges, featuring the region's best bands performing live. Of course, it's even more fun when you stay and play. Unwind in an elegant room or suite at our luxurious hotel. Then wake up to enjoy all the Vegas action all over again. Ready to get away without going far away? Make your hotel and dining reservations at oakgrovegaming.com. That's oakgrovegaming.com. Oak Grove Racing, Gaming, and Hotel. So Vegas, so close. Conveniently located off I-24, exit 86, across from Fort Campbell in Oak Grove, Kentucky. Just a short drive from Nashville. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Identity thieves love tax forms with personal info needed to steal your identity. That's why LifeLock helps protect, monitor, and restore your identity. No one can monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com. Promo code RISK.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast. Joe Manganiello.
The Snyder Cut. What was that like for somebody who was actually in it?
Well, I'm really happy for Zach.
How's Bubbles the dog?
Bubbles is on my lap right now. She doesn't really like it when I'm on the phone. She wants me to get off and pay attention to her.
Well, she's literally what?
She's 4.8.
So she got fat in the pandemic, is what you're saying.
Yeah. The Rich Eisen Show podcast. Listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Studios, this is your Titans NFL Draft Station. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. Trending now at 104.5 The Zone.
It is 12:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Quarterback Alex Smith has announced his retirement, and the 36-year-old was the NFL Comeback Player of the Year with the Washington football team and a former #1 overall pick in 2005. Tennessee has added a transfer and former Michigan quarterback Joe Milton, a former 4-star prospect out of Orlando. Milton threw for over 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions to go with over 100 rush yards and a touchdown in just 6 games with the Wolverines. Nashville Soccer Club came back from down 2-0 for a 2-2 draw in the season opener against FC Cincinnati in Nissan Stadium on Saturday. Randall Leal's long-range goal in the 64th minute tied it up. Nashville will travel to Montreal next on Saturday. Preds dropped 2 at the Carolina Hurricanes over the weekend, including a 3-1 loss Saturday. Currently sitting in a playoff spot, the number 4 spot in the Central. They are 2 points ahead of the Blackhawks, who they will play tonight in Bridgestone. That is at 7 p.m. Nashville is 5-0 against Chicago this season. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
He's been the best Titans reporter in town, so of course we had to get ourselves some of that. It's Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone.
You ready, Mace? Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Yeah. It is that time. What is going on, Nashville? Beautiful people of Nashville, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, or wherever it is that you're streaming the 104.5 The Zone app on the website. You could be hanging out with us on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, or Twitch TV. It's 104.5 The Zone TV, baby. And we got you covered no matter where it is that you're hanging out with us. Raymond Pfister on Twitch says, give us the bird every now and then so we know you're paying attention. Can I do that? Am I allowed to flick off the camera? I feel like, obviously FCC.
Let's not.
Okay. I mean, I figure, if I don't ask, how do I know? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to find out where my boundaries are with this whole streaming situation. Hal Laws on YouTube says, hey, Buck, good morning, Hal. Welcome to the show. So we have a lot to discuss. We have discussed a lot of draft conversation over the course of this morning. We will get to Lucas Panzica's mock draft momentarily. You have had mine. We have talked with Dane Brugler for our Mock Draft Monday segment. He, of course, the excellent draft analyst for The Athletic. And I'm going to get into some NFL personnel versus draft media stuff that I think you guys are going to enjoy. But first, let's check in on Lucas. How you doing, bud? Doing okay?
I'm good. How do I sound?
Not good.
Not great.
Not good? Not good. You struggling? You going to make it today?
Okay. I mean, I felt this coming last week. I felt my voice going. And the weekend didn't help. We'll hope for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, well, at least Blaine and Mickey, you're not going to have, Blaine and Mickey aren't going to come after you the way that I am.
Sometimes they do. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, well, I told you today when you texted me that you were experiencing one of the worst hangovers that you have since experienced in several years. Yesterday, that has carried into today. We should say that Lucas Panzica wasn't recklessly drinking on a Sunday. Although Sunday fun day, if you choose to partake, I cannot pass judgment as long as your performance doesn't suffer, which it did certainly when we tried to wish people happy birthday. You should pay a fine for Tony Vitello when he has clearly told you it's Vitello. You still owe $2 from last week, and you should have to pay a fine for screwing up the happy birthday. So you're $4.
$4.
Where's your cash?
Can we have a Venmo fine jar?
No, that's not how it works. Carry cash. This is the only time you have to carry cash. Is the fine bucket back there? Did anybody steal it over the weekend?
I'm looking at it.
Hey, you're looking at it. You're not putting any money into it.
No.
How are we supposed to raise money for a charitable cause if you won't pay your fines?
Where's this going? Have we figured that out?
So I don't want to make it like some kind of competition for like charities that want our money, because obviously it's not going to generate a ton of money. We don't make that many mistakes, and it's only $1 fine every time we screw up. But I would like the money to go to Home Street Home, which is a charitable organization that does really good work rehabilitating homeless people around the Nashville area and Middle Tennessee. Stephen Young does a fantastic job with Home Street Home. So I would like the fine bucket money to go to them, because homelessness is a serious problem in our city, and these people are just need help. Not to get totally off topic, but they're you just see a lot of people around town, and very rarely do you take the time to acknowledge them, which is just so the most base of human things is to acknowledge another person. And when you pull up at a stoplight or something like that, it's very easy to look away. But I try to engage with them. I don't for the same reason I don't carry cash. I don't always have cash to give them. But even just to talk to somebody, like, it makes a big difference. So Home Street Home does fantastic work, and I would like to have our fine money go to hopefully helping buy homeless people tents and heaters and meals, because Steven does a great job, his crew out there in the community, making sure that they are taken care of. They do matter. That is one of the things that Steven says on a regular basis, and I would like that to carry over. Our shame should help support others. That is what the goal of this is. Not to get into a charitable or a rant about a cause that I care about. So we will have our fine money go there. Meanwhile, Lucas is struggling, but he put together a mock draft. Lucas, this is the time for the people to know who you have selected in your mock draft. If you missed any of the draft conversation, Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone. That's the podcast. Subscribe, rate, review, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Do the damn thing. Go check out the previous conversation. But now we get to Lucas's mock draft.
So I came in and did this morning. I will probably get home, drink a cup of tea, dive into some draft stuff after the day, continue my recovery, and build another one. But here's what I have. With the 22nd overall pick, taking Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. A guy that we've talked about a lot on this show, has dealt with back problems, has told the media and teams that it is very, what did he say, low risk, high reward. A guy that probably would not be falling to 22 if he got a full season in without COVID and didn't have these back issues.
Yeah.
A guy who I think at 22, you want to get a guy that can potentially start for your football team at one point or another in the upcoming season. Finding value at wide receiver in the second round, Elijah Moore, a guy who a lot of people have mocked to the Titans with the 22nd overall pick. I think anytime you can run into that situation where a guy who you mock in the first ends up with you in the second, that's a good thing to come out of. Tommy Tremble, that's my third-round pick, the tight end out of Notre Dame. Dan Moore Jr. in the fourth round. Or no, that is continuing the third round, correct, with the 100th overall pick, with the compensatory pick.
Correct.
Dan Moore Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas A&M. Moving down the list, Patrick Johnson at 126, edge rusher out of Tulane, who's one of the most productive edge rushers in college football over the last 4 years, a name that I think has flown under the radar a little bit in that department. 166, Kay Johnson out of South Dakota State, who Dane Brugler actually referenced. Tennessee Titans.
Did you know that did you know of him before Dane Brugler said his name?
Only because I dove into Dane Brugler's wide receivers on the Beast.
Okay.
I spent way too much time reading about wide receivers on Dane Brugler's piece of art that is the Beast. I don't know how a human
really
is
is
capable of putting all that information in an organized fashion and distributing it like he does. It really is incredible.
I mean, so to that end, I don't want to say it's the only thing that Dane does, but the draft is the only thing that Dane does.
And he does it well.
He does it spectacularly. In fact, more of us should take a lesson from Dane, just staying in our lanes and doing what we know the best that we could possibly do it instead of spreading ourselves so thin.
Looking back on it, Kay Johnson and Elijah Moore, maybe a little too similar. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. It creates some competition there, which I think the Titans need at wide receiver. But two smaller statured slot guys that make an impact in the return game, maybe a little too similar when I look back in hindsight. At 205, Malik Herring, interior defensive line out of Georgia. At 215, Shaka Toney, the edge rusher out of Penn State.
I like that name.
And at 232, safety Tariq Thompson out of San Diego State.
Shaka Toney. Draft him just based on name alone. Okay. So do you feel like you got all of the needs accomplished?
I think so. I think a little bit with safety depth with that last pick, taking a flyer on a guy from the West Coast. Two edge rushers. I don't know that the Titans would take more than one in the upcoming draft. I've got two edge rushers and two wide receivers.
So what you were doing, though, this morning when you were running through your own mock draft and when you were looking at other people's mock drafts is you were honestly stressing me out. Like you were honestly causing me great anxiety. And by the way,
you thought I broke some news to you.
I wanted to fight you. I wanted to fight you when you told me what you were saying was actually a mock draft simulation instead of actual news, because the way that you said it had no way of indicating to me that it was not actual news.
I see that. I saw that the second I said it. Titans trade up to 15. Oh, sorry. No, this is just a mock.
I almost threw my MacBook at you. Almost launched my MacBook at your head. Because this is what he does in the green room, okay? And it should be a fine unto itself. And I would find Lucas Panzica more if I thought that was necessary, but I don't want to cost him a bunch of money because he's now in the place where he can afford to be fined, but I don't want to take all of his money just because he pisses me off. So what Lucas does in the green room is he'll just sit and go through all of the mock drafts, like all of the mock drafts, and he'll just say, "Wow, this guy has J.C. Horn at 10. Can you believe it? His draft stock has really, really gone up. Oh, wow, Titans trading to 15, but then give me zero context for the idea that it's not actually breaking news from somebody like Adam Schefter that the Titans are trading up to 15. No, it's just a damn mock draft.
I accept that the way I phrased it in that moment could have been misleading.
Keep some of it in your head. It's okay.
It's not how I operate,
You
Buck.
don't have to read me the entire mock draft of every person putting out a godforsaken mock draft. It's not how it needs to go down.
I need people to know what's going through my brain.
Why? For who? You have 5 hours of radio. You got to do it in the green room too? It's just an unrelenting barrage of draft opinions that he flame throws at my face during our pre-show meeting. And it's not like, listen, it's not an important thing that I do for a living, okay? Don't tell my bosses, but I'm way overpaid for how ridiculous of a job it is that I get to do, okay? Just between you and me. They're not listening, right?
Just a ridiculous.
Just obscene. Obscene. But what's more obscene is the fact that Lucas, while I'm getting ready for my show every day, just hurls draft stuff at my face.
Well, okay.
For an hour and a half before we walk in here.
All right,
because we don't got enough time to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, let's turn off the flamethrower for a little bit.
Whose?
Your flamethrower. I will take the blame for the trading up to 15 thing. I made that sound like breaking news. I was just reading a mock draft. I'm very sorry. But this is what we do in the green room. We have conversations. Oh, this guy's got this guy here, this guy here.
You have 5 hours to have this conversation in a way that makes you money. Instead, you choose to do it when in the few moments of my day when I have some sort of silence, some sort of peace. It's like when you're driving down the road, like my girlfriend does this all the time, and it's okay. I love her to death for it, but she just reads every sign of every business that we pass. You know, no, we're not going to do any free shout-outs because none of these, some of these companies are paying us money. But we like for example, our draft coverage is presented by our friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people, of course. But every time she sees a Two Rivers Ford sign, she says, "Oh, look, Two Rivers Ford." What am I going to do with that? It's what Lucas does to me with draft opinions. Just throws them at my face, minute after minute, mock draft after mock draft. More mock draft talk coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
It's not whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game. But we're also preparing for a lot of winning. Yes! Getting you ready for another Titan season. Everywhere you go.
Get you some!
Download the 104.5 The Zone app.
Just like Mike Key says, you got to get you some, man. You better get you some of this DraftKings Sportsbook app because they're just trying to help you make money out here. They're just trying to make it easy for you to make money while you watch sports. How great is that? Like Masvidal and Usman, the UFC fight coming up this weekend. They put on a show the last time they stepped into the octagon. Round 2, I promise you, is going to pack a punch. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is putting you in the center of this weekend's title fight with 26-1 odds on either title contender to reign victorious. Just bet $5 on either fighter to win, and if they walk out with the victory, you will cash $130. That's 26-1 odds. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code WGFX when you sign up to turn $5 into $130 if the title contender of your choice wins. Place your bet and watch the fists fly this weekend. That's code WGFX to turn $5 into $130 if the fighter of your choosing takes home the crown for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Switching your car insurance to Geico is both easy and could save you hundreds. It's the best of both worlds. Like a butcher with a sense of humor. A co-meat Ian.
Well, I'd tell you a joke, but I'd probably butcher it. The stakes are too high.
Geico. Easy and savings. The best of both worlds.
Sometimes in business, the unexpected comes calling. From rent increases to increased orders to, I'm gonna say it, unprecedented times. But don't bounce back. Bounce forward with Comcast Business. Bounce forward with fast, reliable internet on the network that can deliver gig speeds to the most businesses and gives you the flexibility to update your bandwidth in just a few clicks. Be fast, be flexible, be ready for what's next, and bounce forward with Comcast Business. Help your business bounce forward with this amazing offer. Get started with a powerful and reliable internet and voice solution from Comcast Business, starting at just $35 each a month for 24 months for 2 years when you buy both. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com today to find out more. Restrictions apply. Limited to new Comcast Business 35 megabits per second internet and one voice mobility customers. Early termination fee applies. Enrollment in EcoBill and AutoPay required. Call for details.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
The headlines have hit the news, claiming shortages of vehicles in Middle Tennessee, not at Music City Autoplex. Their exceptional wholesale buying ability has allowed them to increase inventory to meet your needs like no other dealership. More late model, low mileage choices, more financing options, more SUVs, more trucks, more sedans. So visit Music City Autoplex today and find more of what you want in a vehicle purchase experience. See why Music City Autoplex is growing and why they are the uncommon dealership. Located at 2430 Gallatin Pike or online at musiccityAutoplex.com.
Genesis Diamond's first spring sale in 2 years is here this weekend, and they're holding nothing back. Save up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, all on sale. Last year's spring extravaganza was canceled, so they're doubling up this year with bigger discounts and expanded selection. Aggressive financing. Designers are here with their entire collections all on sale. Even certified diamond engagement rings are on sale, so don't miss this. Genesis store-wide spring extravaganza Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special financing. This event was canceled last year, so we're making it bigger than ever this year. With twice the selection and double the savings. Get sale prices on all new designer jewelry and GIA certified diamonds. This Friday through Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamond. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit.
In the market for a late model pre-owned vehicle but don't want to deal with the hassle of traditional dealerships? My name is Tom Seifert, and I founded Genesis Auto Brokers over a decade ago to offer a better way to purchase your next pre-owned vehicle. As a licensed dealership, simply tell us what you're looking for, and through dealer-only auctions, we'll find the exact car to fit your needs and budget. At Genesis Auto Brokers, you'll save time, money, and hassle. Visit us at GenesisAutobrokers.com to start the easiest pre-owned car buying process in Middle Tennessee. That's GenesisAutobrokers.com.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This hour brought to you by 1 Hour Heating and Air Nashville.
Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Is that what we're doing with our fine bucket money? Out here digging for gold. You guys are actively rooting for Lucas and I to screw up now so we can raise money for a good cause. We've determined in the last segment that our fine bucket money, every time Lucas and I screw up, we have different fines for the two of us. But every time one of us screws up, we put $1 in the bucket. At the end of the year, that money's going to go to Home Street Home. They're helping keep the community afloat, basically. And they had a lot of harm come to the homeless community after the flooding that we experienced a couple of weeks ago. So Stephen out there doing tremendous work. This is our small way of helping to support them in their work to support the homeless community of Nashville. So if you can watch us screw up on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, or Twitch TV, 1045 The Zone TV is live and in person. You can check it out. All of the shows are available to you on these various social platforms. Live original sports programming where you can watch 1045 The Zone's daily shows and originals on all of the platforms that I just mentioned. You now get the best seats in the house, like Will Bowling. Often Will Bowling comes in here and has the best seat in the house to this show and to any show because he just roams about the building, comes in as he pleases, wakes up at like 10:30. It's honestly criminal, not to take Will Bowling out because he just got a promotion, but it's criminal that Will Bowling is paid what he is.
Will Bowling is
I don't know what he's what?
He was awake at 10 a.m. this morning.
Debatable.
I had a conversation with him.
Well, so Puka has tweeted in. By the way, I've done a bad job at interacting with the callers today. I saw Kenston, Kevin, and Jack called in earlier. We're doing a different thing with our phones today, so I can't see who's on the line, and I get distracted very easily. But I have now in front of me the thing that shows me the calls, and I'm paying attention to it. So if you guys want to give us a call, we haven't heard from any callers today, but I know several have chimed in.
I was going to say we have, but.
So we have had callers today, but I have been negligent in my duties to the callers. So 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation.
By the way, John Miller says he will match up to $100 at the end of the year for Home Street Home. And Shirley, he says, you and I can screw up 100 times between now and then.
I'm certain.
But thank you, John.
Thank you very much, John. We're up to 20 right now. Lucas owes 4. So now I'm going to guilt you into bringing cash. You can't just get away with this for the memo. This is actually going somewhere. And now we've said it on the air. We have to do it.
Got to follow through.
Yeah. So fine system is in place. But anyway, Puka has tweeted in. We'll get to this thing about draft season that infuriates me the most because it is one of the things that Puka has brought up. But Puka has tweeted in suggestion for a poll question: who causes me, Buck, the most stress? Is it Lucas? Is it my A to Z Sports primetime producer Reed? Is it Will Bowling, my cat children, Austin and Zach of A to Z Sports, or myself? Now, armed with that knowledge and working with me on a daily basis, Lucas, who would you say stresses me the most out of that list?
Of that list, your cat children seem pretty easy to handle.
They're very easy.
Yeah, so I don't think it's
They're
them.
low on the list.
I don't know much about how much Austin and Zach stress you out. I don't think they do because you work together in A to Z, but your shows are separate. I don't think it goes to them. I know I keep you on your toes a good bit. Like you think I'm breaking news to you when it's just a mock draft. When I text you and say, "Oh, did you book him?" I didn't book him, and then I'm like, "Oh wait, no, yeah, I booked him."
When you fake me out in preparation for the show, yes, that causes me a considerable amount of stress. You can hear it in my voice. Oh, so you're going with you? That's who you're going with. I can't hear. You're not talking to me. Your microphone's off.
Probably me because I work with you on a day-to-day. It's either me or Will Bowling.
That's a fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm blabbing over here with my mic off.
What the hell is wrong with you today? Get it together.
It's either me or Will Bowling. And since you deal with me on a daily basis, maybe it's me. My voice sounds terrible.
615-737-1045. I'll tell you what really stresses me out in a second. It's something to do with the NFL draft. But Will Bowling is up there. Now, Will does more good than he does harm for the sense that the ways that Will Bowling pisses me off, and you work to this effect too, the way that the two of you piss me off creates good content. Like the show is better when I'm upset. That's basically how this show works. People chime in, whether it's on the internet, on the phones, or whether it's you two, my coworkers, my teammates, out here actively sabotaging me. That creates good content. When I'm bothered, it works. So Will Bowling is up there. You are up there, but it creates good content.
Who's the wild card that Puka did not mention? Because you would know better than anybody.
Well, it's me.
She did mention you. Who did she not mention?
Who did she not mention that stresses me out? Well, what she didn't mention is what we're going to talk about. Draft season. The draft analysis. The months and weeks that we have leading up to the NFL draft. This is what stresses me out the most. Okay? And it's always it's obviously one particular time of year. It drives me insane. And I'll explain to you why, okay? For some of the reasons that Dane Brugler of The Athletic and myself, we talked about earlier when he was on the show. There is such a stark difference between how NFL team personnel, player personnel go about their business this time of year and between them and the draft media, the sports media, the way that we talk about this crap because there is so precious little news. Roland says, do y'all talk sports or just talk to hear yourself talk? Roland, I talk to hear myself talk. I literally pay my mortgage by talking to hear myself talk. Thank you for your participation on Facebook Live. What the hell is it? What does he expect me to do? It's 3 hours a day. Roland, deal with it. I literally just got to the sports conversation. We were talking sports all morning. Suck it up. God, but this is the thing. People are such babies about the conversation around the draft because they get so obsessed with the players who they hear the names said on SportsCenter so often that they become obsessed with this. Like the wide receiver class. You know Rashad Bateman, you know Jamar Chase, You know Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, on and on the list goes. But you don't pay attention to the guys later in the draft who can still help your football team get better. You do not go about the process the same way that the NFL talent evaluators go about the process. You are distracted, and it skews the analysis. That goes for people like me, 1,000%. We have so much time between the time that the NFL season ends and the time that the actual draft takes place to just straight up spin our wheels. Now, a lot of it, most of it, is meaningful conversation, I do believe. We do get a lot of smart people, a lot of people who have backgrounds in scouting to come on this show. The Mock Draft Monday segment has been a huge hit, without question, because we get smart people to help make Lucas and I smarter, to help make you smarter about the analysis at this time of year. But we're also not in these draft war rooms, because when I see stuff like the Trevor Lawrence thing, whether it's people like me screaming that why aren't we doing the same thing to Trevor Lawrence that we would do to a black quarterback for reasons that are obvious and clear to everyone who has gone through the draft evaluation process and seen the way that black quarterbacks are covered different than white ones. Outside of that, which just bothers me, which just pisses me off to no end because of the clear signaling that you're doing during that evaluation process, Justin Fields is a different matter unto himself. But what bothers me is the way that NFL draft evaluators go through this process, and we are just completely off base from how the actual people whose livelihoods depend on the players that they select go about the process. Do you think that John Robinson or his staff gave a damn about Isaiah Wilson's potential rap career, something that he has a side interest in outside of football? I can 100% guarantee you no. The same thing for Darrington Evans, who dropped an EP. Is it something that he can do in his free time? Of course. Does it affect the way that he comes to work every day? Does it affect his love of the sport? That is something that NFL talent evaluators will hold against you. They don't care if you're well-rounded as a human being. Now, that's the difference between draft media and people who are actually picking the players. Because me, as a media person, when the players come to the Tennessee Titans, when they make it to my level in the NFL, right? I'm an NFL reporter. We talk about a lot of things on this show, but my day in, day out trade is Tennessee Titans reporter. When they make it into the Tennessee Titans locker room, because I'm going to talk to them, maybe not every day, but on a regular basis, I'm going to sit there and say, I hope these players are interesting to talk to. I hope their stories are interesting. I hope they're just not some caveman that's here to set the edge or block the rushing outside linebacker or catch the pass or whatever. Like, I hope they are somebody that I can have a conversation with, because that's what media thinks about. And I am not saying media outside of me. I'm including myself in this conversation. This is where the disconnect comes about. Because Nate Davis is an exceptional offensive lineman. Nate Davis is not an exceptional interview, the Titans' right guard. And you know why the Tennessee Titans love Nate Davis? Because he's not obsessed with, how interesting he is in a press conference or what his interests are outside of football. I'm sure he has them. But Nate Davis, as Mike Vrabel says, just puts his head down and works.
Kind of what you said coming off the Danico Autry Zoom interview, right?
Remind me.
Saying he not a lot of words, not a really outspoken guy. Really, it was just the Colts made a mistake, and that was it. Very businesslike.
It was one line. That was it. It took 5 minutes. 5 minutes that Zoom took. And it's not Danico Autry's fault. Like, what does he care what we're going to write about? Danico Autry also, I had somebody tell me that he gets a little uncomfortable in front of the camera. And it's not a comfortable situation. Like, locker room is probably more comfortable when we're all allowed to do these things in person, because you can see the human that you're interacting with and not just about, like 25 squares on a screen with our cameras off. Like, that's an understandably uncomfortable situation. Now, I'm not saying that Danico Autry has to be any kind of wordsmith. But that is not what NFL talent evaluators care about. They don't care about who you are. Well, they do care about who you are, because that affects their bottom line. who Isaiah Wilson was affects the Tennessee Titans' bottom line.
The reason they drafted him was for who they thought he was.
A big laugh, a big jolly guy, right? That's something that Mike Vrabel said. 615-737-1045. It just makes me mad because it's so off base from what the people actually tasked with making the selections are doing, what the rest of us talking heads, the rest of us media vultures, the rest of us gas bags are doing with our time in the 2 months between the time that the season ends, or the 3 months, the time that the season ends, and the time where the new players are actually selected. 615-737-1045. Ryan is in Smyrna, and he is the first caller that I have gotten a chance to take over the course of this morning. Good morning, Ryan. How are you? Uh-oh. Ryan, you're on the air.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Just get your thoughts on this over the weekend that the Browns letting Sheldon Richardson go. Do you think that's a chance the Titans will evaluate and possibly look at bringing in for see how he'd fit with the system?
Hell no, but thank you for the call. We appreciate it. No, this is not – where are they getting the money? Where are they getting the money? To further spend on an interior defensive line? Jeffrey Simmons has a contract that's coming up. Now, he has a fifth-year option that's going to be in between there, but he has a contract that's coming up. Danico Autry is on a 3-year deal. You have Tier Tart, you have Laurel Murchison, a draft pick and an undrafted rookie free agent. Tier Tart is the former undrafted rookie free agent, and Laurel Murchison is the 5th-round draft pick from last year. You're not in a place where you can continue to spend. Like, I make jokes about the salary cap not being real, but the salary cap this year is very, very real. Sheldon Richardson was let go because he's too expensive, and the Browns have to keep that money flexible because they're now going to pay Jadeveon Clowney.
They saved $11 million in cap space with that cut.
Even if you had half that much to spend on Sheldon Richardson, you don't play more than 2 down defensive linemen at any point. It just doesn't make sense. Now, if the Titans do what Dane Brugler of The Athletic has mocked them to do, which is taking Christian Barmore, that's a far more cost-effective way to address that position. Now, I don't want to completely dismiss what Ryan has asked, and I feel like I was a little dismissive there, so Ryan, forgive me. But it doesn't make financial sense. Finances matter so much more this year than any other year. And the first thing that I get hit with is, well, the Saints don't care about the salary cap. Make more voidable years. Restructure somebody. Restructure Tannehill, Lewan, Saffold, all of these names. John Robinson doesn't want to do that. He does not want to have to maneuver the finances in a way where the cap hit is going to be higher further down the road. Do you like the idea that you're paying Kevin Byard $15 million this year? Hell no. Kevin Byard is a good player. He was a good value. He was a 3rd-round draft pick. He is not a good value right now. And I understand that Kevin Byard led the team in tackles last year. That's not a good thing if you're a safety. If the play ends up there and your safety is leading the team in tackles, then your passing defense is giving up a lot, or whatever your defense is doing, whether it's a running back that they're not tackling or whether it's a receiver that's getting yards after contact. Safety is leading the team in tackles is not a good thing.
And a different thing from a corner or a nickel leading the team in tackles. Logan Ryan led this team in tackles 2 seasons ago.
What?
Totally different.
And if they used Byard like they used Logan Ryan, like they used Kenny Vaccaro.
Yeah, even Vaccaro.
Or Amani Hooker, I would justify that a little bit. But your free safety leading the team in tackles, bad sign. Because I saw Byard, poor Kevin Byard, honestly, he's getting hit over the head with, down year. And it was a down year for all of them. All right? Byard's just a name that they know, a name that we know, who's got a high salary cap hit, and who you can gravitate towards and say, yes, Kevin Byard paid a lot of money, needs to perform better. But Kevin Byard's constantly getting hit, and I know he reads his mentions because he interacts on Twitter a lot, getting hit with, terrible year, down year, on and on and on it goes. And I saw him defend himself by saying, if down year is leading the team in tackles, we're going to have a lot better years. We're going to have it's an okay place. No. That is not, and I won't do it because I'm not going to be fined, but it is not the place that Kevin Byard finds himself in. That is not a fine. 615-737. You like what I did there? 615-737-1045. We have talked a lot about the draft today. We will talk more about the draft all throughout the course of this week. But what's coming up next are the polls. The polls also having a great deal to do with the NFL draft. Lucas Panzica, it is his job to update the polls. We will do that coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
We eat, sleep, and breathe Titans. It's all part of a well-balanced diet. Brilliant! Non-stop Titans talk, speculation, and reaction. Yes! This is NFL Draft Month on 104.5 The Zone.
Spring is showtime at BetMGM. Hey guys, it's Lucas Panzica from the Buck Reising Show and Blaine and Mickey. Baseball is back, and as the weather warms up, the hockey and basketball action gets even hotter. It's the perfect time to take a shot at an easy 100 from the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today using code LUCAS100 and win $100 in free bets when you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Grizzlies or Nuggets, and if either team hits a 3, you win, regardless of your bet's outcome. No matter what your favorite sport is, BetMGM is always at your fingertips with innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and much more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use code LUCAS100 to win $100 in free bets when you wager $1 on the Grizzlies or Nuggets to hit a 3. New customer offer, paid in free bets, must be 21 years or older. Must be in Tennessee to bet. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
The VA loan is one of the best benefits of being in the military. The problem has been that most VA lenders don't really care about their customers or the level of service that they provide. At HeroLoan.com, we want to earn your business. We pay for the appraisal and can close your VA loan in as little as 14 days. Get the loan you deserve and apply online today at HeroLoan.com. The only way to VA.
NMLS number 1326241.
The signs of spring are all around us. Warmer weather, flowers blooming, and mosquitoes. Luckily, you can take back your yard with Arrow Exterminators and their mosquito control service. The experts at Arrow protect homes using the most environmentally friendly methods available so that you can enjoy your yard all spring and summer long. Fight the mosquito bites and schedule your free home or business pest inspection today. Call 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com. That's 888-GO-ARROW or arrowexterminators.com.
This is Tom Seifert, owner and founder of Genesis Auto Brokers. After over a decade in business, I often hear the same things from my customers. 1, that was so easy, and 2, I wish I'd called you sooner. Dealing with traditional dealerships is a headache. Genesis Auto Brokers is the better way. Simply tell us what it is you're looking for, and with our access to over 100,000 vehicles at dealer-only auctions every week, we'll find just the right car for you. Visit GenesisAutobrokers.com today. That's GenesisAutobrokers.com. Or call me direct at 615-310-9637.
Fleet Cards USA.
Fleet Cards USA, Barb speaking.
Hey, Barb, I got a construction company here with 15 vehicles.
Nice. We've worked with contractors for years.
Yeah, but I give my drivers regular credit cards to pay for fuel, and it is a mess.
That's why you need fuel cards. You can track expenses with some great analytics. And if you qualify, you can even cover your other construction expenses.
Bam, you are beautiful, Babs.
Yeah, I get that a lot. So go to FleetCardsUSA.com, answer a few questions, and bam, you're good to go.
Fleet Cards USA.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I knew it, but I thought it was elves.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember me?
Sure I do. You called last year because you thought our truck team members wear caps to hide their elf ears.
But you don't use elves. You use fairies.
What makes you say that?
I met Charlotte. What a delight.
You met Charlotte?
First I pointed, then the junk disappeared. But the sparkle sound came a little bit late. So I said, you should probably make that sparkle sound a little bit quicker.
And then what happened?
And then Charlotte materialized out of thin air and said,
never hesitate to trade your cow for a handful of magic beans.
How did you know that?
When you give a fairy advice, they have to give you advice in return.
I love 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
When you want junk to disappear,
all you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit us at 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in Nashville. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, Now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 615-733-8168 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Been a fun one today. If you missed any of the Buck Reising show, that's me. You can check it out via the podcast, Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone in your favorite podcast app. We had Vols baseball coach Tony Vitello on. He was really good. Really enjoyed the conversation. Exciting to have two good baseball teams in the state of Tennessee. We had Dane Brugler of The Athletic. The draft 10 days away. Well worth your time to go see the kind of insights and analysis. Go listen to the kind of insights and analysis that Dane Brugler gave to us. But, by the way, I am starving. Is it weird if I go eat by myself? Like, I just kind of want to walk across the street after we get done with the radio show today. Like, am I going to be looked at like Steven Glansberg? Like, am I going to be Steven Glansberg if I go eat lunch by myself? Is that acceptable?
There's no shame in that. You just don't want like a Keanu Reeves, like sadly eating a sandwich photo kind of situation.
I mean, I feel like, one, I'm not Keanu Reeves, so nobody's going to be going out of their way to take pictures of me eating sadly by myself, unless it was to be made into content with which to shame me, which is possible.
Yeah, because that's totally out of the realm of possibility.
No, that would happen. But, people are working today. It's not like people are going to come seek me out. And also, I'm not saying where I'm going to go eat lunch.
There's no shame in eating by yourself.
I don't know. I feel like
there's nothing wrong with that.
It's just I feel so sad every time I walk into a restaurant because I'll do it no matter how sad it makes me. I do it quite frequently, and it's always the hostess like, "Oh, just you? Yeah, just me."
Order a glass of wine.
Let me just pull up to the bar 1:00 on a Monday. Let's get hammered. Anyway, let's do the polls.
Did the Vols series loss to Vanderbilt make you feel better or worse about Tennessee baseball? 70% said better, 30% say worse. And a lot of that may be having to do with the environment that weekend.
Wait, worse because of the environment?
No, better because of the environment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the environment. Listen, Vanderbilt is very, very good at baseball, okay? And we do not give enough credit to Vanderbilt for their greatness in baseball. Because I think, honestly, and it's unfair. Puka pointed this out, one of our loyal listeners, tweeters, followers, all these things. Puka pointed out that a lot of Vandy fans are dissuaded from the zone because of how infrequently we talk about college baseball or how college baseball is dismissed because it's college baseball when it's Vanderbilt. But when we're talking about the Vols, after the Vols lose a series, we have the Vols head coach on. And that's, I can't lie to you, for any other reason that there are more Vols fans that will gravitate towards Vols stuff, Vols being good, than there are Vandy fans. Better don't have a tweetbook PR Instaface. What Raymond Pfister is tweeting us on Twitch. The comments are disorienting. There's four screens just streaming comment. It's like Lucas and his draft takes before we do the show, just hitting me in the face. Waves of them. Anyway.
Brooks Taylor said, respectfully, Vandy dominated the weekend. They won 23 of the 27 innings. Vols struck out 31 times in 3 games, and if it wasn't for Evan Russell, they sweep. Love Tony V, and they are good, but I don't know how you feel better after that.
I'm not disputing any of that. All that you know about Vols baseball is that they can. You can't even say that they can hang with Vandy because they didn't really hang with Vandy.
Game 1 and 3, you're right, they did not.
So I'm gonna say worse. I'm gonna say worse. Because I didn't see any indication that they could legitimately push Vanderbilt other than Jack Leiter having a bad day on Saturday.
Yeah, and they went into that weekend to knock off Vanderbilt and win the series.
Yeah.
They didn't go into that weekend looking for moral victories. Virgil Hackney replies and says, you're a doofus. How many mocks is too many mocks? 5, 10, or 15 or more?
What did I do?
56% say 5, 18% say 10, 26% say 15 or more. And one of the first responses was just yes.
I'm going to make you start signing my tweets when it's you tweeting them I don't like I get so much unnecessary heat from you tweeting out the poll questions from my Twitter account. People don't know. I don't run my Twitter from basically 9:30 until 1.
Yeah, I catch none of the collateral.
Nothing. It's just, I'm the doofus. What do you want from me? What was the poll results? Read that again.
How many mocks is too many mocks?
Yeah.
5, 10, or 15 or more? The majority was 56% saying 5. 26% said 15 or more.
It depends who it's coming from. If it's you and me and everybody listening at home, it's too many. 1 is too many mocks. None of us know what the hell we're talking about. We're not inside. We're not inside the draft rooms. You don't have any kind of inside information unless you just happen to be the cousin of like somebody who's an equipment manager or something like that, and you hear some kind of offhand comment about them talking about who they're going to take in the draft, and it's probably not true. Too many mocks. The market is saturated with mock drafts.
What's the latest you will stay out at bars? So this is kind of scattered all over.
Yeah.
Nearly 300 votes. 39% say midnight. 19% say 1 a.m. 23% say 2 a.m. and 19% say 3 a.m.
All right, we asked this because Lucas is sporting a 2-day hangover. Very, very professional. He got me to go out. I never leave my house, basically. Got me to go out before the Nashville SC game. He did not get me to go out after the Nashville SC game. I was in bed on Saturday by 10:30.
Yeah, but with you, it's also like 2-for-1s at Jonathan's, right? Like, I enjoy a couple of beers at 2-for-1s at Jonathan's. You enjoy a couple of tequilas. Those are very different.
Yeah, I had a full head of steam on heading into that soccer game. How late did you stay out on Saturday?
Until 3 a.m. And this is not a normal occurrence for me. Like, I want it to be known. I feel like the last couple weeks I've been painted as a raging alcoholic.
You've
like,
been painted as? No, your behavior indicates that you
who
are.
I am. This is not who I am.
I said, Lucas, when's the last time you jumped a fence? He said, last weekend. We were playing a drinking game with a Frisbee. Lucas, when's the last time you stayed out till 3 a.m.? 2 days ago. Lucas, why does your voice sound like absolute hell?
The last 2 weeks have been an outlier.
Had a tough go.
Oh, I've got a wedding this weekend.
Just get some religion in your life or something. You got a wedding. Oh, I have a wedding this weekend too. I got a flight right after the radio show.
Will Bowling had a wedding last weekend. I ran into Will Bowling
at a wedding
outside of Printer's Alley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he was there because the wedding he was at was dry.
Was he alone?
No, he was with someone.
That's mean. Will Bowling catches so many stray bullets. What else do we have?
This is the last one. Have you ever been to a Nashville Soccer Club game? 65% of nearly 500 votes say no. 35% say yes.
So I had not until Saturday when Lucas going prompted me to buy tickets and go. And this was unprovoked. I just was sitting at dinner on Friday and I said, hey, soccer tickets, super, super reasonable to sit in the lower bowl. Let's go. I'll buy, I bought a block of 4 because they're basically resale where I bought them. And we had really, really good seats. And the game was very enjoyable. And the fact that I was several tequilas in made it more enjoyable. It's the first time that I've cheered at a sporting event. I couldn't tell you. At least since college. Where I'm actually actively clapping and cheering and stuff like that. I haven't done that in so long. Honestly, I feel like I need to do now. Obviously, I don't do that for the Titans games because I'm not a Titans fan. I'm a reporter. And Vols, I've never been to a Vols game, but I have no journalistic obligations there. Other than we talk Vols on the radio show. But to go to a Vols game as a fan would be a lot of fun. I've never been to Neyland Stadium, so I would like to do that at some point. Perhaps Lucas, you and I will take a road trip. And we will, I'm backing you into work-related things outside of work, but I feel like that would be a good experience. So I think it's good for me to be reminded of what it is to be a sports fan, given that I do a sports talk show, several sports talk shows, by the way. 615 Sessions podcast going to be out tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you have any Titans questions for me, you can send them to my Instagram DMs at Buck Reising, REISING. That's where we answer the Music City mailbag on the podcast that will be out midnight Tuesday. So that'll be a good time. A to Z Sports Primetime as well coming up tonight. We'll be spending a lot of time on what we didn't get to today because I had a lot of stuff prepped for today, particularly the Titans win totals. DraftKings has them out right now. All of the NFL season win totals for all of the teams. For example, the betting line for the Bucs is 11.5. 11.5 games in the NFC South, which sounds outrageous, but also Drew Brees is gone. We'll see what happens with the Falcons, whether they draft a quarterback at 4, whether they trade back, whether they take Kyle Pitts, whatever. But 11.5 for a defending Super Bowl champion sounds insane to me. And I'll spend more time on the primetime show. We'll talk about it on the radio show more in detail tomorrow, where the Tennessee Titans are at in these win totals, as well as where the Tennessee Vols are in the Football Power Index. ESPN has that out right now as well. A lot of good talk coming tomorrow on that, and we'll continue the draft talk all week long because we are 10 days away from the NFL draft. But you are not even 10 seconds, really, away from Blaine and Mickey, because Blaine and Mickey is going to continue this conversation, all that and more, before 3HL guides you through the rest of your afternoon. There's a lot of good sports talk coming up here on 104.5 The Zone.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Coming up tomorrow morning.
Hey, it's Mike Keith. I'll be filling in for Jason Martin on Tuesday, and we'll talk to one of my favorites, NFL analyst Pat Kerwin.
We'll also talk to a fellow VFL, Charles Davis of NFL on CBS.
Plus, from the ACC Network, the longtime voice of the Atlanta Falcons, Wes Durham will join the show.
We'll have plenty of Titans and draft discussion as well.
It's all tomorrow morning on the next J-Mart and Ramon.
Tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
This is Andrew Bogish with a CBS Sports Minute. Tonight in Las Vegas, San Jose Sharks forward Patrick Marleau is scheduled to play in career game number 1,768, breaking his tie with Gordie Howe for the most in NHL history. Mr. Hockey owned the record for 59 years, the longest stretch in any of our four major sports. Marleau